But hi guys, I'm Butoshi. I've been learning coding in a very conventional way because I started when AI came out about 2 years ago, and I started learning with ChatGPT 3.5. So I didn't learn coding through your typical, oh, I took a coding class. I literally had AI every single step of the way with me as I was learning AI coding and going through this experience. So I'm gonna show you guys and just demonstrate today how I use AI in my everyday life. I would say not an exaggeration is that I'm probably 50 to 100 times more efficient compared to 2 years ago. Given that stat does start with me literally knowing zero knowledge about code, but code bases that used to take me a couple months or a month, I can now whip up in a day. I'd say the time that takes longer for me when it comes to actually getting projects done is just being a perfectionist. So today we're going to go through two parts of the workshop. Since there's a lot of beginners here, I wanted to make sure that even if you don't know how to use terminal, I think Nick talking about using npm install, a demon to learn initially. But even if you've never opened a terminal or never touched code in your life, we're going to make sure that you could walk out with either having a product idea in your mind brought to life in front of you. And I also want to show how we could use WebSim and just make multiplayer games, because I feel like both of those are fun. I know a lot of people that have game ideas and it's like, oh, I wish I could make that. Well, today you can. So now we're going to go back and forth through the slides. So essentially, a quick intro to vibe coding is also, wait, here's the picture. Vibe coding is essentially coding with AI by expressing your idea. I tell a lot of people now, this is the picture, but I tell a lot of people that all you need in AI now is an idea, because you really don't need anything else. AI has the knowledge base to assist you with the heavy, complicated tech stack and anything else you might need to know to get into it. So that's what I consider vibe coding, is just taking my words and taking this idea I have in my head and presenting it onto the screen for everyone else to see. So here's the vibe coding. A lot of people will trash talk vibe coding. You'll see on the timeline, like, oh, you'll get tech debt if you just code with AI. You're not making valid code. You're not making real code. You're gonna have security issues. I can't wait to have a cybersecurity job fixing your security issues. You don't realize you could literally vibe code security and good code, but there's tiers to it. So you'll learn over time. Initially, you might just kind of talk and the AI system will make this wild thing. You'll have no idea what's going on, and you'll make something that'll work. This is the picture. You'll make something that'll work, but it might not be the best. So in the second half of the class, so the first half of the class, we're going to go through essentially just having an idea and just throwing words at the prompt and seeing our ideas come to life. The second half of the class is going to be more focused on what I actually use to win the story protocol and techniques there. So we're going to be diving into Cursor, which is a code editor. We're also going to use Claude Code, which is an AI coding agent. I'm going to show you guys like the step-by-step processes I use to efficiently work with those two AI systems for making actual products that I ship to clients or I give to people or I even host for my own servers. Because security is the #1 thing, and I cannot get exploited, or my NFT project would be in a very bad place. So kind of going through with the tiers. So yeah, first we're gonna explore just pure exploration of our idea to an AI system, and then slowly we'll get more advanced with providing product research documents or deeper context to Claude and being more powerful and specific with our words. I want to emphasize on the being more powerful and specific with our words part, because these AI systems pretty much have the entire database of humanity and knowledge in their head, but they can't load in all of that information all at once. So the words you use in a system prompt basically tell the AI's brain, hey, activate these knowledge banks you have, because the user is asking about software development, or the user is asking about cooking, or the user is asking about architecture or math or science. So it efficiently loads in these specific knowledge bases it has. So when you're more specific with words, you're more likely to get the outcome you want because you're activating the right knowledge banks. I'd say the most important lesson when it comes to vibe coding and just learning with AI in general is, was there a message? Claude Code is fire. I'd say the most important lesson is staying curious. I don't know how something works is no longer a valid excuse that anybody on earth could ever do, ever, because you literally have ChatGPT or Perplexity or all of these AI systems that are connected live to the internet. And you could just ask the question. I don't know how quantum physics work. I could just ask Perplexity or Deep Research. So we'll also be going through like how to use these tools and the type of tools that are out there and how we could use them to advance these code bases and help us understand concepts that we might not know. Yeah, so communication is very key. You need to be very specific what you ask for, because these AI systems are really good at following instructions, but they're too good at following instructions. So if you are very specific with what you want, then the AI systems will do a good job at following what you want. If you're not specific enough and you leave an area of vagueness for the AI systems to interpret what you might want, you might not want what you might not get what you actually want. And that leads to a lot of frustration in people. I'd say one of the best pro tips I have is, oh, that was the next slide. So the one fatal flaw that these AI systems have that everyone needs to keep in mind, and this helps me a lot when I'm working with these AI systems, is that every LLM at the moment has a limited context window. And a context window is everything you could put here when you're talking to the AI. So each one of these systems, these AI systems, have a context window. They could only fit so much words and instructions and information in them until they start getting what I call AI amnesia. And the more text and information you have in these context windows, the less efficient and powerful they are. And eventually they just kind of start forgetting things. So every time you're starting a new chat with these AI agents in Claude Code or Cursor or even WebSim, these AI models start to break down over time. So we really have to learn, okay, how do we prioritize information and how do we summarize what's important? Because every single time you start a new coder agent, this coder agent is starting with zero knowledge of your code base. So that's typically why we have to provide documents and research and tell the AI system, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I need you to do. This is how it works, which is what we're going to get deeper into the second half of the class. I'd say a super helpful practice is to talk to AI like they're human. And I don't literally mean anthropomorphizing them. I mean that AI is and is not an all-knowing entity at the same time, in terms of it does have this insane database of knowledge, but it can't read your mind. So that kind of goes back to the more communication is key. So I give this visual in my head where if I'm hiring some intern that knows nothing about my code base or nothing about my project or nothing about me, what specific information do I have to tell them and what information do they need so they could accomplish the task exactly like I want? Don't skip on information is the most important part of this. And I'd say one final thing that is probably the most important lesson that ties everything together is breaking down tasks into smaller chunks. I even kind of go to this issue where I have this big product idea in my head. I'm like, make the whole thing. And sometimes it could make the whole thing. I did that with the Story Protocol hackathon. I just had this idea and I kind of told Claude Code to make this entire thing. And it worked. It did start bugging a little at the end, and I hit a buzzer beater right before my name got called. That was stressing me out, but it vibe coded the fix last minute. I was kind of gambling on that. But when you have this really big product or task in your head, it's very, very helpful for the AI systems if you break these tasks down into smaller chunks. So the most helpful way that I tell people, oh, this is how, the most helpful way I tell people and I teach people how to learn AI in the first place is to have a North Star in your head. So a goal in your mind, something you want to create, whether that's a game or a product. Once you have this North Star, then using AI to help you find the path in the middle and learning the concepts that you need to learn is really easy. That's usually how it goes in development in general, is have a project in head or have a project in your mind, and then you can start learning the process in the middle. Now with AI, learning that process in the middle is really, really easy and really efficient. So we're going to go over kind of like a couple of North Stars I have and research I do to learn these on a deeper level. But that's basically the intro. If anybody has questions on that, feel free to let me know. And if not, wait, someone raise their hand. Okay, I have two monitors now. I have my meets on the second monitor. What is how does this work? What's up, Sar? If someone raises their hand, can they talk?
They should be able to unmute. I think maybe. Do you see a queue or anything where you can?
Hello?
Yeah,
Does this work?
yeah. I can hear you. What's up, Sar?
Yo, what's up, Boo? How you doing?
I'm doing good. About to start class.
Yeah. No, I've been here since the start. I came in early.
Nice. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Nah. You just did something click by accident?
He was just
Yeah, I think you raised your hand, but it's all good. Also, if anyone has questions and they want to ask like vocally, feel free to raise your hand and ask. You're good.
I did not realize. Yeah, no, I've had this in my pocket because I'm at school right now. So,
yeah, bro's doing double class. Okay.
I have two class. I have my engineering class for Boop right now, and then I'm listening to this at the same time. So.
Okay, sick. Okay, well, I'm gonna put you back in the pocket. So damn, chat's actually moving. Context window can be overcome with technique from retrieval augmented generation. I mean, yes and no at the same time, and that's like a super advanced topic that we're not gonna get into today. Also, let's say organizing from simplest to hardest is key. What do I think about Replit? I think Replit's cool. I was thinking about showcasing Replit, but WebSim is easier for people. I kind of like for this class, I wanted people to easily, like instantly have something in their head and make it. So anyways, now we're gonna get into WebSim, I guess. So before I start, does anybody have ideas, like either a product or a game that they have, or they've had this in mind that they want to see the process of being made? Okay. What's up, Adrian?
Cyber Sosa.
Hello.
Feel free to throw some whacked out game ideas in the chat as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sub Butoshi the legend. Listen, again, I've been trying to beat my head against this college basketball voice that could kind of produce and scrape news and become a leader in the space as far as news and transfer portal, and build a personality that communicates with coaches and players and parents to drive in real life events. And so again, I know I was trying to reach out to you through your agency, but I'm trying to scrape up the cash. You know, it's a big pull. But
okay, I would say if it's a business thing, we could save it for after, unless you have like a live question in class.
Okay, yeah, sorry. But I guess how would you building a personality in the sports space? What would that be?
You said building a personality?
Yeah, like building an AI personality with a website, and something simple that has a landing page, and you can ask it questions about basketball.
Okay, sick. I'll show that right now. I can show like a prototype of that on Websim. Mm-hmm. And then we also got some classes. Personality is a good topic to get into. So yeah, we could go over that. That'd be pretty sick. Let's see what we got in chat. We got Whack-A-Mole is interesting. Minimalist first-person shooter, darts pool. I want a game where you have a virtual dog, and if you don't dance with it, it drains your IP tokens over time. Beer pong, Whack-A-Ippy. Tamagotchi with AI assets that could change dynamically. Mortal Kombat style fighting game. NFTs. You guys actually have a lot of sick ideas. You can make a chat with personality with AI features. Okay, I'm a maybe like a basketball Tamagotchi game would be interesting. Try that. Okay. So Adrian has this question about an AI system that knows about basketball and has this personality. And someone said in chat, this Tamagotchi game. I wonder if we could make a basketball Tamagotchi game. And then party dungeon crawler. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna separate them. So this basketball AI idea, I guess I would start by wait, let me see if I have a voice thing that works. Testing voice 1, 2, 3. Okay. So first, I guess I would go into planning. And what Websim is really cool, you just kind of like put ideas into it. So if I write, I want to make a landing page that has an AI personality in it that knows everything about basketball. I guess when I go in there, I want it to be a chat interface. I want people to instantly be able to chat with this AI basketball personality to learn everything about basketball. So that would be prompt number one we could try out. I have this ADHD habit of I don't like waiting for the AI system to finish coding things. So I'll make a lot of different things on the side. So kind of going through everyone's idea. Someone wants whack-a-mole. Make me a whack-a-mole game where I can whack moles with my mouse. And then someone else has a minimalist first-person shooter. WebSims has, so before I get into like all this crazy stuff, I don't want to give an intro on WebSim is and why I like it so much. WebSim is this, I'd say, ecosystem of online AI website products where a lot of people come in and just prompt things. Everything on this homepage you could see are all these different games that people made. And the coolest thing about WebSim I like is that you could click on something and it's almost like Roblox where people have these different games or creations they make. But if you open this little hotbar on the top right and you click on this tab right here with the pencil, you can actually see every single version and prompt iteration that people made or people use to get the game or website to the current state. So it's really fun to be able to go through and look at how people are interacting with WebSim and all these different things. This game is interesting. This is one of the top games on WebSim, and someone just made a multiplayer racing game or multiplayer car game where people could race each other. So someone said minimalist first-person shooter. Another part, what I personally use WebSim for to this day, like I'm not exactly making things on WebSim, but I might prototype something on WebSim just to see, if this idea might work, or make multiplayer games on WebSim just to see if like these different game ideas are valid or might work. And then, I don't have any host privileges, by the way, Nick. I don't know if you want to give me host privileges.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Hang on, let me learn how to do this.
What's up, Paris?
How to give you host privileges.
Whack-a-mole while taking fire, Jeeves.
Do you have to request them? What are you trying to do right now?
Just like if people raise their hand, I want to be able to just like manage that queue.
I see. Okay.
Anyways. Okay, so I think this site is still developing, but you can see we kind of have off rip. Literally, all I wrote in this prompt was I want to make a landing page that has an AI personality that knows everything about basketball. I want people to instantly be able to chat with this AI basketball personality to learn everything about basketball. And WebSim now was able to make this pretty nice, simple website called HoopsMind AI. Well, even gave us a name. How cool. All basketball knowledge at your fingertips. Chat with our AI basketball expert and learn everything about games, player history, stats, and more. And I guess they have this AI thing. So if I ask, what is basketball? It might not work. I think it's still coding this site.
Yo, what email should I add for you as the co-host?
Let me
Drop it in chat.
Give me one sec. Okay, I texted to you on Telegram.
Okay, sick.
So I think this is still going. The whack-a-mole game. So someone wanted whack-a-mole. I guess to code it, does it work if I hit start? Oh, it does. Look, it gives me a little cursor. So okay, now we got this whack-a-mole base. We got this game in progress. And I'm actually getting points every time I successfully whack-a-mole. Oh, I missed that. It was actually fast. Okay, super interesting. So I'm gonna refresh that and save that. I think, right? It looks pretty sick whack-a-mole game. Hi. So going through these base, I think the last one I want to try is someone wants this minimalist first. I wrote the same prompt as you, but mine doesn't look as cool. I am using the Sonnet 3.7 model. In the free tiers, I think the best one would be DeepSeek R1. I don't know if 3.5 is in the free tier still, but yeah, any of these models should be cool. But that's fine. Usually what I'll go through is there is this base. So what I'm showcasing is having these first initial ideas as a base and then improving them over time. So do people have like free base credits, Rod, that they could start with? Yeah, and the last one I wanted to try is someone said this free daily credits. Okay, beautiful. So yeah, I'm using 3.7 Sonnet for these codings or for these websites specifically, which should be like one of the best. And now I'm gonna write, I guess I'm gonna speak this in. Make me a multiplayer minimalist shooter using Three.js, and I want NPCs that I could shoot in the game. And we'll start with that. So now going through this initial AI basketball thing. So now we have a product and then we have 2 games. Pretty cool that WebSim could just like go through this. So if I click start chatting and I type hi, right now the send chat bar doesn't work. So we could fix that. And if I usually what I like doing is I like screenshotting the parts of either websites or products that I'm working with because it gives the AI system more context. So I'm going to screenshot this chat bar. I'm going to paste it in this chat bar. And also keep in mind, this applies to any AI system like especially Cursor. I do this a lot. So if I'm going to say, when I type a message in chat. So context is the most important thing. I could take a screenshot and be like, fix this. But then the AI system might be like, well, what am I fixing, bro? I don't know what to fix. So specifically, I'm going to write, when I type a message in the chat bar, I can't hit send and the orange send button doesn't work. Please fix. Also, I'm pretty sure this is still alpha. When you say please, I saw this paper a year back. When you say please to an AI system or say that you're going to tip it $20 if it does well, I heard you get better performance. And throughout time, I've heard of reasons why it works, but let's see if this works now. Say to fix. If I say hi, I send the message. Still doesn't quite work. So you could right click specific elements and kind of pick the entire source. So when I type a message in the chat bar, I can't hit send and the orange send doesn't work. Sometimes I'm gonna try, it still doesn't work. And see how that goes. You could also redo entire websites kind of from the ground up. And if this doesn't work, then we might have to take it even smaller and take this larger task and focus on the AI system itself, then add the website on top. Because there might be too many elements the AI system is working with. Okay, but where do we send the tips? So I wouldn't tell the AI systems that I would tip them respectfully. I would say please and thank you. I wouldn't do the tip strategy. Because they might remember, he's like, bro, where's my $1,000? Like, well, we have robots walking the earth. And all these people saying, I'll tip you. Once you have a prototype, how do you get to control the update? Where does it live? For instance, traditional Wix and GoDaddy. You register it on Story IP and allow others to use and or monetize. So on WebSim specifically, once you have this idea, like this whack-a-mole game, you'd actually just download it directly. So if I click these 3 dots, you can then download the game and you'll be given a zip file where you can now run the game locally. So this is running just from the file, but I think you would have to run this as a server, which we could showcase when we get into Cursor. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll prototype. Oh, this is the minimalist shooter game. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll prototype a game on WebSim and then I'll download it and I'll go on Cursor and I'll iterate and refine it further. I also love WebSim specifically for web design. One issue with ChatGPT Plus encoding is it frequently is like pushing a donkey and it's just being terse and not doing all the steps for you. That's where you have to be very specific and communicate better. So we're waiting for this to finish. Now, kind of like when it comes to improvements as well, I just like how can we make this whack-a-mole game look cooler? Honestly, it's a pretty good game off rip. I didn't really expect that. Pull in IPI IP. We could try that actually. You guys have an IPI picture? Because I think I could reference images specifically.
Yeah. Let me grab that for you.
Golden bonus moles. Oh, I like that. Can you add golden bonus moles that give? Is Manus available to the public? I don't think so. I have Manus access if you guys want to try a prompt live and see the research. And yeah, it is being recorded. Yeah, that'd be interesting too. Do you ever use Manus? I'm using that to make code bases. Yeah, I actually do use Manus sometimes. It made me a really good Electron code base. Okay, let's try this. Can you add golden bonus moles that give 10x points? How rare should they be? There should be a couple golden moles per game. So I'll run that. I think this system is trying to fix the hoop mine thing.
Also, I telegrammed you the IPI brand kit.
Let me see. Also, if I am moving too quick, feel free to let me know. I'm just like trying to I'm just like interacting with AI systems the way I usually do and trying to explain out loud the process. I'm just vibing, to be honest. Is the blankets? Get this on the side. IPI main. What's up, Nick?
Yeah. So okay, so I'm doing some stuff on websim.ai on my end over here. I noticed there's like a bunch of different models that you can like initially start off with. And you know, maybe I missed this part of the workshop, but did you go over like all the different models and like which one you'd want to pick if you were going to build a website versus a game versus an app? Sorry if you did.
So no, I didn't go through that yet. Specifically, I was kind of saving the more kind of different model things. I wanted to dive right into WebSim off rip just for the class. So anyone who hasn't touched code before could just see that I mostly want to demonstrate that people have these random ideas in chat, and just by writing the idea directly, they could see the idea get brought to life. What I noticed just throughout the time of doing classes, just by showing people, hey, I have this idea, here's how I like bring the idea to life. It allows people who have these ideas themselves to then kind of copy that process. And I find WebSim to be the easiest way to just like instantly interact with that idea. But well, yeah, we'll definitely go deeper. I guess essential like TLDR just is the best model for coding overall right now is Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is what we're using for WebSim. I would use Claude for websites and I would use it for code. I would use it all around. If we want to get more complex into the different AI models, we'll do that in the second half of class. Okay, these two are still loading. I'm not sure if my thing just bugged because it stopped. So I'm gonna try this prompt one more time. Let me take this. Let's try to break this down into a smaller step by step. So the goal we have right now is we want to make this basketball AI assistant on WebSim. The neat thing about WebSim is that it has AI models built into it that we could work with. And you could select these models. And this tells the WebSim AI system, hey, add specific AI code to my product. So let's take this from a more step-by-step process so we can ensure that it works. if I go and break this down, I'd say I'd want to start with a basic chat interface. So make me a chat interface where I can talk with an AI model. Rob, what's the default AI model? Sorry, Rob's in chat. He's the co-founder of Websim. So he's kind of just like checking this out as well. Default Gemini Flash. Okay, cool. And then Nick, can you check the Telegram group chat real quick? Let me go through chat real quick while I wait for this input.
Hey, would it be helpful
sorry.
if I just copied and pasted like the questions from the in-call messages into the Telegram chat?
Yes, I didn't expect chat. I didn't expect chat to move this fast. I have it open on this side, but I'm missing it.
Okay, cool. I'll start copy and pasting the.
Yeah. So any questions I miss, if you ping me, that'd be super helpful.
All right, for sure. If we haven't answered your question yet, can you please post it again?
Yeah. Please let me know. I don't mean to ignore. All questions are welcome. I also did not expect use Claude to summarize chat in real time. I'm not coding an entire summarized Google Meets thing right now. There's actually there's AI code. Like, this is interesting. This might be alpha for a lot of people. But Granola AI. So if you guys do meetings often, there are there's these two AI system services where if you do Google Meets often, you do meetings often, you're constantly like having meetings with people. Me personally, I'll get in a meeting and I'll kind of forget everything we talked about in the meeting immediately when the meeting ends. But there's these AI tools that listen into your meetings for you. Granola is one product that you turn on when you go into a meeting, and it understands the different people in the meeting, and then it writes down meeting notes for you after. And this is very, very, very helpful for me, especially when I have to take a lot of calls and I can't think about like action items. Circleback is another product. It does the same thing. Circleback is interesting because this is not sponsored, by the way, but Circleback is interesting because it is in sync with your calendar. So if you have Google Meets in your calendar, then it'll join meetings automatically for you. So you don't have to think about going through that. Anyways, that was just a side note topic.
Yo, so that's actually
What's up,
happening.
Zen?
That's happening right now with Gemini. So if you click on the top right of this stream, you'll see like a pencil with a little star above it, and it'll show that Gemini.
Oh, nice.
So I'm
you?
just on that for myself. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Oh, that's insane. Okay. Sick. So Gemini has them already. I didn't see that last week. That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if it's a new update or what, but yeah, it's showing like even like the beginning of this stream, and then it's just it's just talking about how it's updated
You guys
last
could see
4
it
minutes ago.
right here. It has like, sorry,
Cloud 3.7.
infinite mirror. Oops. But yeah, it's on the top right. I've never noticed that either in my meetings. I think that's new. That's super interesting. So yeah, never mind. Products. Google Gemini has it built in. I know, bro. Gemini is just they just ship a lot of updates. Really easy. Sorry, going back to this. Like now we have a basic chat interface thing that I started with. So make me a chat interface where I could talk with an AI model if I type. Then we could see. Cool. Okay. So now we have this initial base prompt of an AI chat assistant that. Sorry for hosting this. Very insightful. Peace out, Anthony. So based off this prompt, which is simply make me a chat interface where we could talk with an AI model, we now have a chat interface where we could talk with an AI model. How are you doing? So now we have this working base that we know works. So now I'm going to take this landing page. And what was the North Star goal here? It was make a basketball site where people could go in and talk with an AI assistant that knows everything about basketball.
Yeah.
So I might then go and say, how should we phrase this? Make the AI assistant specialized in basketball knowledge. I also, let me see if I get creative with this. One of the things I'm thinking about right now is that when it comes to chatbots in general, a lot of people will get stuck at the initial chat because a lot of people won't know what questions to ask. So by seeding questions for people to interact with and ask off rip, it might help interactability. So if I write, make an AI assistant specialized in basketball knowledge, I also want there to be 4 randomized buttons during the chats that allow users to prompt the bots with conversation for people who might not know what to say. See if that works. What's the difference? Sarah asks, what's the difference between Olympic Coder 32B versus Claude for coding? And let's find out. What even is Olympic Coder? So there's a question in chat, and I've never heard of this model specifically. So
it's a new model that Hugging Face made based on coding competitions. Yeah. It's so I sent you a bunch of messages yesterday because I was trying to figure out which model to use for generating code automatically inside Boop, so it could make its own tools. So I'm just seeing whether or not I should use the Sonnet or the Olympic Coder for generating programming code.
So, okay, I didn't know what Gemini Coder was. So to get more information to properly answer that question, I'm using Perplexity.ai, which is this AI tool that has search into it. So this is Perplexity.ai. I'm just gonna ask, what is Olympic Coder? Super simple question. And it actually searches the internet for information on what this is, and it's going on Hugging Face, it's going on LinkedIn, it's finding all of these different sites, and it's doing the Googling for me. So the biggest thing about AI that allowed me to grow so fast in terms of knowledge and research over time is the ability to get the answer I want directly. So that's where Perplexity has been very useful for me, is inputting a question or a topic or a concept and getting the most up-to-date information on that. Typically, AI models don't have internet access. They usually have this training cutoff, this knowledge cutoff, where most AI models' knowledge stops. Like I think 2023 range. So like Perplexity or internet research allows these AI models to just search the internet for you. So Perplexity searched the internet for me, found out what Olympic Coder was, and now it gives it back to me in terms of information. So off rip, we have a competitive programming model that is developed by OpenR1 and is built on Cleanse Instruct. It's a 32 bill model, so it's pretty big. It generates executable code. How does Olympic Coder 32B compare to other competitive coding models? So where can I see charts? Oh, is there an image thing? Oh, sick. So let's see. No, I wouldn't use this model. The reason why I wouldn't use this model compared to so a lot of these models will come out and it'll be good open source models and good experiments, but Claude, this chart is saying that it's better than Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but I don't think this chart is taking into account Claude 3.7 Sonnet extended thinking, which beats DeepSeek R1 by a mile. So I wouldn't use this model. I would just stick to Claude 3.7 Sonnet because that's state of the art. Is my null overloaded? Is my answer to that. I'm trying to use Claude 3.7 to get a basic racing game started, but this is the first message I'm getting back. Do you see a red button on the top right
I do.
I don't know if WebSim is getting mad at me for running like multiple different tabs. But there should be a red triangle on the top right.
Yeah, I see
That
that.
tells the AI system that.
That's
Oh,
the-
that was your question. Okay, I was like, George, why does that sound so familiar? Okay, so if you click the red triangle on the top right, it should kind of like self-fix it.
okay.
If not, then you could copy that error and paste it in a chat.
And then just tell it to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure why this is being slow. Let me try retrying it. So we'll go back to V1, which works. To verify it works. And oftentimes, if something doesn't work, think of AI prompts also as rolling the dice. Sometimes you could use the exact same prompt, and maybe 1 out of 6 times you'll get a really, really, really good prompt. So I usually do a 3 strikes method. So if I know this prompt is what I want specifically, and the AI system isn't doing what I want to that T, I'll try to re-roll it a couple times and go back. That's also something we're going to showcase heavier when we go into the using Cloud Code and Cursor, which we'll get into in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to finish on focusing this basketball thing. I also want to show you guys this marble game I made yesterday with WebSim. But let's retry this prompt and see if that works. Set V1 as current. Copy this. More than anything, I would love for you to walk through how you set up your computer, local environment for beginning code, also some basics or version control of Git. Yes, that is what the next 2 hours will consist of. I just wanted to make sure that hour 1 is for people that have these ideas and want to play with them off rip. Okay, this is cool. This one looks like is what I wanted specifically. So now I got this basketball AI assistant that is prompted to know about basketball. And now we have these buttons that allows people to, it allows people to have ideas of buttons to click. So I might go on this site and I don't know anything about basketball or even what to ask. So having these prompts helps me. Like, how tall is the average NBA player? And that's a great question. The average height of an NBA player is around 6'6". Now, and then this is cool. So it also, what's going to actually use an AI system in this to have these buttons dynamically change. It's either random or it has an AI system built in. But it's just prompting and allowing me to play with this. So, okay, now we got this basketball assistant. Adrian, you seen this? This is specifically for you. Okay. So now we got this basketball system and it's allowing people to interact and play with this. Then you could kind of go on and say, now make me a homepage site with this AI assistant message system built into it. I want people to go on this site. I'm kind of explaining, I guess, a vision. I want people to go on this site and learn everything about basketball through this AI system. Also give me a cool aesthetic. Yeah, there's this funny thing where sometimes I'll just tell AI systems to make it better, and I'll roll the dice a couple times and it makes it better. Ask about, what's up, Day? Ask about LeBron's legacy and stats. So I'm going to show off this last, I guess, process. And then we're going to go into, like, yeah, setting up the environment, setting up Git. Yeah, we're definitely gonna go over Git. Git is the most important lesson that we're gonna need to learn for vibe coding. There have been a lot of, even my personal homie made this really cool project. I assigned him this task, and he made this really cool project for our Discord. And I told him to learn Git and save it to Git. And he didn't save it to Git, and he vibe coded and messed up his work and messed up his entire code base, and he couldn't undo the changes because he didn't save it to Git. So all that work he did just kind of went down the drain. Do you use Warp? I do use Warp. Yeah, Warp is really cool. GitHub Desktop really helps with Git if you're not comfortable using the terminal. So we're gonna use a terminal. We're gonna learn how to use a terminal. And specifically what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn how to ask an AI to help set up Git for us. Because that's what I did. I didn't know how to set up Git. Honestly, I still don't know all the Git commands. I just be asking AI on the side that I need to do the specific thing, and the cursor agent will do it for me. But Warp is also cool. For people who don't know what they're talking about in chat, Warp is this AI terminal system, and it allows you to use natural language to interact with your computer. So sometimes I'll be lazy and I'll have a Git link, and I'm like, clone this Git link and save this project as this folder, or download this video from YouTube. And since it has an AI system built in the terminal, it knows how to do all of this. So I wonder if we could use this. I wanna showcase how to set up Git, but since I already have Git and security keys on my computer, I feel like it might interfere with that. No one knows all the Git commands. If someone is found like that, they're immediately taking Area 52. Paul said, sorry if I sound like a noob. Don't ever apologize for asking questions. So you tried a web page with an AI chatbot. Chat didn't work. So you tried starting from the chatbot and then developing the website. Is it a standard way of inverting the workflow, starting from the most difficult / not working thing? Usually that's how I personally do it. So hold on, let me finish the rest of your question. Is it a standard way of inverting the workflow? Also, what if in the site there are various complex things to build and a couple of things don't work? What would you start with? How do you choose? I would start by focusing each problem one by one. So if various complex things don't work, then focus on one problem at a time. And you really want to focus on one update at a time. Again, sometimes I'll break the zone rule and I'll try doing like these crazy changes, which sometimes work. But if it doesn't work, then I'll do what I just showcased, where I will invert that process. And I don't usually start with the most complicated thing. In this case, since the chatbot wasn't working, and I wanted to start with the chatbot first. So from the last prompt, I said, now make this a homepage site with the assistant message built into it. And now we have this game, like I made a little basketball game aesthetic. You start learning about basketball. You have this knowledge center, and it just funnels us to talk to the AI coach. So now we have the basketball coach in the site, and it actually works. So this kind of helped our first problem where we prompted this whole site. Chat wasn't working. Even when I told it, hey, the chat's not working, and wasn't really fixing it. So I started from the ground up to build the AI assistant first. And then now that that functionality was working, then I built the site around it. So now we have this cool little AI chatbot. Also, my favorite thing about WebSim specifically is I don't need to worry about hosting. So if I wanted to show people this website, I could just share this directly and they go on the site instantly. So I could like send this in chat. And Adrian, you could also start interacting with this. And the cooler part is you could make this your own. So I think if you click the WebSim button on the bottom right, it'll take you to this page. And then you yourself could start building on top of it and playing with all these features you want to try. And when you have something, so I use WebSim for prototyping. So just easily playing and instantly getting like this back and forth live feedback without having to worry about setting up this code and databases and all of these complicated tasks. And then when I actually like, or I see this product vision that I have in my head, Then I'll go through with it. And I will download this and work with Cursor and Coder. Now, there is one part of the class. I told people I will show you how to make multiplayer games, and I don't think the prompt for the multiplayer game worked. So WebSim has this feature where if you just type in the word multiplayer, then the AI system working with it knows that you're trying to make a multiplayer game. So I want a multiplayer marble game. So I'm going to say, I want to make a multiplayer marble game where people are on this field and the marbles can bump into each other. I'm specifically for this going to say, use Three.js. Three.js is this framework that makes these 3D-like environments that a lot of people are using for games. So you might see people entering this Levels.io vibe coding jam on Twitter, and they're using Three.js as a base most likely. So let's see. He nailed peach baskets to the wall and used a saucer. Is that like forking? Yeah, that's like forking. And let's see if this last. Let's see if we can just get this multiplayer marble game working, and then we'll move on to. I guess I'll make a product live. That's a product I've been wanting to make for a while. Oh yeah, I have a product idea in my head that I really want for myself. So we'll go through that, and I'll show off my process for making that. See if this prompt sets up. How did you merge the two? When you had the chatbot, how did you add it in the aesthetic of the first website? So all I really did is I started with this chatbot. And so the initial website was straight up like, hey, make a basketball website that has this homepage. So this was V1. Was this this website? Honestly, this aesthetic was nice. I did like this aesthetic a lot more. But this part didn't work. So because the chat didn't work and the chat part was the most important feature, then I started by making a regular AI chat, make sure I could interact with it. Okay, I could interact with it. That functionality works. Now I'm building it from the ground up. The second step was that I wanted it to have these chat bubbles that I could interact with. Cool, the chat bubbles work. Now, the final one was to just make a homepage around the AI assistant. And just by saying make a homepage, like AI knows how to make websites, and they make pretty decent websites. So I didn't really say anything beyond just make a website and then add the AI assistant to the website. Everything else it did was just freestyle. So I could have been more specific and tell it exactly what I wanted, but because I was very vague and I just told it to make a website, it did pretty much whatever it wanted to do, and it did a good job. So okay, now this was the other prompt we just did, which is I want to make a multiplayer marble game where people are on the field and marbles can bump into each other. Use Three.js. So now we have this multiplayer game, and I could use WASD to move around, which is pretty sick. To test the multiplayer feature, I guess I'm just gonna open this on a new browser. And sick. So okay, so I'm gonna put this in chat. If you guys just click on the site off rip, then we should start seeing everybody come in. Like Rob just pulled up from the link that I sent in chat. Anybody who clicks the link should enter the same lobby as us, which is pretty sick. But there's no bumping mechanics. So like moving WASD is a little awkward right now. And there's no bumping mechanics. So this is where I would start the process of iterating back and forth with the system, where I might say something like, oops. Oh, there's a bug here. So I may say something like, let me wait for this to finish. Oh, you see everyone connected. Are they all in this other one? Sorry, I might have broke it because I started writing the prompt. I just saw everybody join at the worst part. I'm on a blank screen, imagining my own game. Yeah, my bad. I started a new prompt when I sent this thing in chat, which kind of broke it. Oh, see, these people reloaded, and this person's moving. You kind of bump into each other. So let's improve this game a little bit. And let's see. I might want it. It works when you reload. And then I break it again.
Yeah, I think I hit reload a couple times and it worked one of those times.
Okay, I might have broke it with prompting. But I'm in now, wilding out. Did I break my own game? I might have broke my own game. Oh, I think it was the link that I put in chat. No, sorry guys, I broke the game. But if I go back, make a new Marvel game. Yeah, I don't want to get too in the weeds of going back and forth, but I hope that showcase just an initial kind of start process. Since we already like reached past the hour mark, I usually get lost in just prompting back and forth, but kind of showcases that when you do these specific things on WebSim, then it allows you to freely iterate back and forth and bring these ideas to life. I hopped off the table into space. So now we're gonna get into the more, let's say, advanced part of the class where we're gonna actually make a product now and showcase research and how to make a thing and how it would go through. So the idea I have in my head personally is something I need for myself. So let me showcase that and then we'll go step by step. So AI Studio came out, and well, specifically Gemini 2.0 Flash image generation experimental came out. And this is my favorite thing I've been playing with. Like all those pictures I showed you guys in chat, I'm able to, oh, I totally forgot about the Ippy thing. Maybe I'll play with Ippy right now. But I have my character, right? Like this is my ordinal inscription on the Bitcoin blockchain. And this is what I started my whole founder / project career with. And I got into AI because I really wanted to visualize bringing my entire collection to life. So I have these Bitcoin NFTs called Bitcoin Booze, and they all look like this. I got an AI imagery specifically because I wanted to be able to iterate and play with them. What's really, really cool about the new Gemini 2.0 Flash model, if you guys haven't heard or played with it, is you could input a reference picture and then you could tell it to do stuff. So one of my favorite things I did is turn my character into a 2D sketch. And then Gemini will take my picture as a reference and should turn it into a 2. So it turned it into, that's basically my character in this cute little like drawn format. I don't really like that though, so I'm gonna just rerun. And again, this is the concept of rolling the dice until you get an image that you like. So now it turned it into this more pencil drawing. And you could keep on going and just every single time it'll be different. I think the more specific you are with the prompt, like turn my character into a 2D black and white pen sketch. Yes, this is Gemini. So you can go to aistudio.google.com and play with this. So it turns into a sketch. And one of the prompts I did, I ended up getting this model, or I ended up getting this picture, which I loved a lot. So it took that initial picture and turned it into this sketch. And I like fell in love with this sketch. I'm like, wow, that's actually fantastic. So I kind of use it to like iterate and generate things. So I made this thread. Go through it. So I made this thread using just this picture as a reference. And this picture was like take my character and put it on a phone and make it say influencer AI hacks and make it someone interacting with the phone. And Gemini was able to edit this picture. And then kind of going through with it, I had it draw up these sketches for me based off my different prompts and said, yes, Claude wrote this thread, lol, is good at text. Specifically, the product I want to make for myself is how do I make that process of making a thread or taking my character and iterating on it really easy and accessible for me as a content creator. So I'm going to make that kind of like my star focus for this build we're about to do. So starting through with that, there are 2 different coding tools that you guys are going to want to start with. One is Cursor. So I'm gonna put this link in chat. Gemini probably has a Ghibli mode. Let me say, turn my character. If I say, turn my character into a Studio Ghibli character. I might take Studio Ghibli as a reference. Did I just say this? Would it work? It's a Studio Ghibli character. I don't know. But point is, so this is my personal kind of like North Star product that I want to work on is I want an easy web interface that uses the Google Gen did not work, but that uses a Gemini model and allows me to like rapid fire these different prompts and images. So this is Cursor. I put the link in chat. This is a code editor that allows you to code products on your computer with AI. And the other is Claude Code. And these could be used separately, but I usually use them hand in hand. So I put both of those in the chat. And an overview into what Claude or into what Cursor is Cursor. Let me close this. Cursor is a code editor. For anybody who has never touched a code editor in their life, this allows you to edit code. Pretty self-explanatory in the name. If you have a, so I'm just gonna get into using Terminal. I think if people are exposed to the Terminal off rip, it's more comfortable for them to work with. So I'm on Mac. I think it might be a little different for Windows. But maybe I showcase Warp for this actually. What do I have on Warp? Okay. So this is Warp. This is an AI terminal that people made. Is it possible to incorporate Warp into Cursor? I don't know, actually. Because Warp is its own product, so I don't know if you could replace Cursor's screen with that. I'll have to check it out, actually. But this is Warp, and it allows you to use natural language. So I'm going to say, make me a folder called... What's the name of this project? I guess Gemini. Man, I suck at names. Let's call it Gemini images, Flash images. Make me a folder called Flash images in downloads in dev. Oh, this is not the natural language part. How do I go into natural language mode? There you go. It looks like you want to create a folder named Flash Images inside a dev directory. Let me clarify. Do you already have a dev directory in your current working directory? Yes. One. Oops. What am I doing? I broke it. There you go. Yes, I have a dev directory. 2, no, 3, no. I'm gonna showcase using Flash later. Let's just normally show you guys how to make a folder. So I usually have a dev folder in my computer where I have like all these projects. So this is my main user on Mac, and I set up a dev folder. And in here, I have all my different projects and folders I have. Usually when you open the terminal, the directory the directory it starts in is going to be this home directory. So if you want to make a folder, you could type in the prompt. I don't know if you guys can see my screen or if it's too small, but why make a folder full? Gotta slow down all vibers. We gotta make a folder so all our vibes are contained in this folder. Could you use Warp more than your normal terminal? No, I just kind of wanted to see if we could use Warp to help showcase people. But I'm gonna show my normal process where I use an AI on the side to help me use a terminal. And I'll showcase the Claude terminal thing. So yeah, you can make a folder and then have a dev folder. So I usually keep all my projects in dev. So I'm going to move my directory to the dev folder using the command change directory, cd dev.
Do you
And
mind
then-
zooming in a little bit on your terminal? Thank
Oh,
you
cool.
kindly.
Okay. So there are kind of two ways I'm gonna start this project, and we'll see which one makes a better way. So I'm gonna make a folder called Gemini Flash. And I'm gonna go into the folder. So make dir stands for make directory. If you just type this in, it just makes folders. Or you can do the manual way and just right click new folder. It doesn't matter. You can do both of these. Can you see it better now? Because the next part, using the terminal,
Yeah, it's great.
is the
Thank you.
important part. Okay, sick. So let's get into Claude Code as an initial preview real quick. So Google has these APIs. Usually when you're working with AI models and you're in a cursor or a console like this, they will either have a way for you to, you can see like get code. They usually have a way for you to replicate this AI system and hit the AI system from your own code base. It says for newer models, the Gen AI SDK is recommended. So let's try this. There's also API docs. So sorry, let me just gather all of these and showcase what I'm trying to do. So the main tool I use in the Story Protocol Hackathon was Claude Code. And if you go on this site, which I linked earlier, then you could go onto the docs and it gives you this terminal command, which is npm install. And I remember we heard talks of what npm was and what all this confusion was. npm is a kind of global developer file sharing base that allows people to, allows people, developers, companies to upload their code into this npm system and allows developers all around the world to download it. In this case, Claude provides us with their npm install for Claude Code. So I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna go to my terminal and I'm gonna paste it in with just Command V, hit enter. And this should allow you to then download, this should install Claude for you. And going through with it, it's just telling you like system instructions. It gives you step-by-step instructions on how to install Claude Code, which is basically just that npm. So once you have that, you want to navigate to your project directory, which is what I showcased here earlier, is right now we are in the Gemini Flash project directory. And then you could start Claude Code by typing in Claude. So literally just write Claude. If it's your first time, you might have to authenticate. Authenticating is fine. I'm not going to be able to showcase it here because I already authenticated. But it should be as simple as Claude telling you to authenticate, and then it should open up the Claude link for you. And it should take you to the Anthropic Claude workbench here. So kind of going through with this and showcasing that. So yeah, you would have to sign up and go through this process of Claude Code. And Claude Code does cost money. So you're going to have to fill up the billing of Claude. I don't know, maybe like $5 to start off with just to play with it. Once you do that, if you need to see different directories, type is list files. At Lee Potter, you can use VS Code. Whoa, we don't do VS Code in here. We do Cursor. And we're going to showcase Cursor next. You don't do VS Code.
I was just explaining that like some of these terms people are entering in the terminal, they may not know what it is or like how it operates on your computer. So I was just kind of breaking it down very vanilla for people.
Oh no,
And
no,
maybe
no.
that's helpful too.
I'm
It's just
talking
like
about
if for people that are
Jonathan.
beginners, maybe just say like, okay, this means this, and this is what I'm doing, just so they know
No,
your
no, I
flow.
appreciate that. I was just saying, Jonathan said you can use VS Code. I was like, no, we're using Cursor. VS Code is old school. But I appreciate you breaking it down for people. But we know nothing. I'm gonna show you how to use AI to know everything for you. Need free things. People need free things. WebSim is free. That's why I showed WebSim. But this is more like actually coding with Claude and systems. Anyways, going through with it. Once you authenticate, then you could come back to Claude Code. And now the terminal is set up here. So honestly, off rip from here, you could actually just start live vibe coding, but I'm trying to vibe code with an intent of making this product. So usually there's I guess there's some terms here. Let me pull this up. So I'm going to be working with the Google Gemini API. The most common thing you're going to be working with when you're vibe coding is going to be these API systems. Usually, API systems come with documentation, which allows people to interact with products. But what is an API? You know what's so great? For any question you guys have, you could go to any AI system and ask it, explain like on 5 what an API is. You probably don't have to do the explain like a 5. This one is an API is a special door that lets computers talk to each other and share things. Imagine you're playing with your toys and your friend has different toys. An API is like making a rule that says, if you want to borrow my toy car, you have to ask me by saying, please, may I have the red car? Then I know exactly what you want and you can give to. I don't like the ELI 5 explanations. Explain in simple terms what an API is. An API, application programming interface, is a way for different software applications to talk to each other and share information. Think of it like a waiter at a restaurant. You, the customer, don't go into the kitchen to cook your meal. Instead, you give your order to the waiter. The waiter takes your request to the kitchen prepares what you asked for, and the waiter brings back exactly what you ordered. In software terms, your application wants information or a service from another application. In the case of the product I want to make right now, I want Google's API model. I want Google's AI model and the image functionality in my personal app. The API provides a clear set of rules about how to make the request. Your request goes to the other application through the API. The other application processes your request according to the API rules, then the API delivers a response back to your application. In our case, I want to use a Google API so that I could have my own interface for interacting back and forth with my character without having to go on aistudio.google.com and redoing this entire process of uploading my character, bringing it back. So every API has documentation, and this is very important because this documentation is what we need. This is the context that we need to give our AI system, specifically right now, that we want to give Claude so it understands how to make this product. So are there any questions on that note? And then I'll just kind of walk through. Crazy how much Boo learned since the fire. What? I feel like I should start with Cursor before Claude Code. This is tool number 1. So specifically, sorry, we're gonna put Claude Code to the side. That was the initial setup for Claude Code. Now we're gonna go into Cursor to start. Kind of making this. Well, someone said they wanted Git, right? They wanted to learn Git. Make their cursor dot. So this is Cursor. What I just did is, because I was already in the Gemini Flash directory, I just typed cursor space dot, and that's just a fast way in the terminal to open Cursor in the current code base. So first video I saw was during the LA fire. It seems like you 100x since then. It was only like 2 weeks ago, bro. I mean, I'm glad it seems like I increased. Was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know. Anyways, so now we're in this empty code base directory, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I even start making this application? So If I go back, we can see that in our case specifically, Google provides us code. And there are, now I guess I got to start from the start. There's different coding languages. The main two that I work with is you have Python and you have JavaScript. These are the two main code bases. I usually work with JavaScript, so I'm going to showcase JavaScript / TypeScript specifically today that you guys can follow along. I'm going to try to roll it back a little bit. And now that we're starting with the base, which is I want to use TypeScript. I have no idea whatsoever how to start a basic TypeScript app. I'm going to go to Claude or ChatGPT or Claude. It doesn't really matter. Claude is kind of like my baby of toys. And I remember Nick saying that we should go through the different models, and I could kind of like go through the step by step. It's honestly personal preference. I personally think that Claude 3.7 Sonnet is the best. We're also going to use Grok later for making product research document and showcasing how to use Claude Code to follow that. But let's start with this basic. How do I set up a TypeScript project from scratch? Paste this in. How do I set up a TypeScript project from scratch? So you'd either go on the web interface or Cursor. I'm going to use Cursor interface just to kind of showcase what it could do. So I'm asking it, how do I set up a TypeScript project from scratch? I've never done this before. The neat thing about the Cursor agent is that it could run commands for you. In this case, it says, first, let's create a new directory and initialize our project. So I'm going to run that command. And in the folder we open Cursor in, it made this package.json for me. Package.json is a way of just informing the code system what they're working with. Then, since I'm using TypeScript specifically, it's going to install TypeScript and other essential development dependencies for me. V0 is easier to set up TypeScript projects. That's a whole mess right now. I'm not going through that. And then it's just going to go step by step and essentially set up the whole core of this code base for us to work with. It should be nice. He said VS Code has failed me a lot of times. What are your quick thoughts on Windsurf? I've really used Windsurf. I'm a Cursor boy. I wonder if going on a web interface is different. Sorry, I'm trying something live. So I asked it how to set up a TypeScript project from scratch, but Cursor has these instructions built in. So it kind of like takes the wheel for you. I feel like if you wanted to do it yourself, Claude gives a better step-by-step instruction. They both work. Like this is nicer. It's telling you make a new project directory and then initialize a new Node.js project and then install the TypeScript things, initialize the TypeScript configuration. This is the part that Claude and Cursor tried doing manually for us. Configure TypeScript settings. Here's basic configuration. Open your source and make a simple TypeScript file. So Claude is telling the Claude web interface is just telling us a step by step, and then the Cursor agent is just making it for us directly, which is very convenient. Thoughts on Windsurf? Yeah, I don't have any use Windsurf, so I don't have an opinion there. I'm a Cursor boy. I think that Cursor is the best. If you want full control of your code base, I'd say Cursor is still the best. My current projects on Cursor are Open Project, Clone Repo, and Connect via SSH. Which one do I select to get where you're at? So starting from there, we have this new window, and this is where you're at. You could click File, and then you could click, I guess you have to make the folder. Just click Open Project, and it should take you somewhere in your file system directory, and just make a new folder, and then click the folder. And then, so like my folder was the Google Gemini. So you could click on the Gemini folder and hit open. And then it should open the empty folder. So from here, let me close this. So it set up a basic TypeScript project directory code base for us, which is nice. And it is also telling us, so gives a walkthrough what we created. We made a package JSON tsconfig. It made a source folder with example TypeScript code. It made a comprehensive README. How nice of it. And then it's saying that we could run this development server. So these terminal commands is the most basic you're going to want to work with. Now the second question is, okay, they set up this initial code base for us. Now, how do we even run the code? In this case, they already told us to just npm run dev. So I'm just going to copy and paste the command. And you can see, so sorry, wind it back a little bit. Usually I open the terminal. So Cursor has built-in terminal. You can click on terminal on the top, click on new terminal, and then it opens this terminal window on the bottom right here. Also, I don't know if my face is fully blocking, but okay. So I'm going to type or just copy npm run dev. And we can see that this basic code base that Cursor coding agent made for me is built in. By the way, the model I'm using, let me move my face real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's go over here so you guys can see the full chat. And go back to the Google Meets. So we can see that we got our basic TypeScript code working. So now if you modify this, so this is where you actually could start the vibe coding thing. Is, let's see, I want this to be a basic website. So I'm going to click a new Cursor chat. So before we get started into the more advanced Cursor techniques and all of this and trying to showcase step by step, I had WebSim. Where's my Chrome? There was this, I want to showcase this process. I think it was very interesting. There's this YouTube video this guy made called, I spent 400 plus hours in Cursor. Here's what I learned. I'm not watching a 46-minute video, but like I quickly skimmed through it and I was like, okay, the detail here is actually very useful and very insightful. What I did, and I do this for a lot of very long YouTube videos, I want to understand and learn, is I took the transcript of this YouTube video. So I kind of just searched up like YouTube to transcript. And this is like some free ones, doesn't really matter which one, but you can paste in a YouTube video and it should give you the transcript. Yeah, so right here, it took a YouTube video and gave the full transcript of this 46-minute video. And what I personally did is I copied the transcript and then I went to WebSim and I asked it to make me a interactive Cursor class that gives information on good prompting techniques and how this works. So I'm gonna send this to you guys that you guys could reference. And kind of just going through it with like these essential setups and kind of like really getting into advanced how Cursor works. In Cursor, you can make a file called .cursor rules. And this is probably like the most important information that there's already .cursor. Wait, .cursor rules. I think they updated it. Rules specific to a project rules recommended. I usually just write .cursor rules. So let me see if this still works. If you can see this, the secret word is diamond. If I go to my Cursor, what is the secret word? Just making sure. Cool. Okay. So what I just did here is I'm just making sure that .cursor rules still works. And in my .cursor rules, I put, if you could see this, the secret word is diamond. I asked what the secret word is, and he knows that the secret word is diamond. This was just my confirmation of making sure that it could see my Cursor rules. So the most important part of Cursor rules when you're setting up any code base is that Cursor rules is what we use to inform the AI system what we're working with and what our code base is currently doing. And any rules and sets, remember from the slide when I talked about AI has amnesia, and every time you are starting a new Cursor chat on the side, the AI is essentially wiping its brain. It's like completely forgetting everything. Cursor rules makes it very convenient to have important information stored in there. So anytime you're starting a new chat, you don't have to worry about repeating the basic code and the tech spec and what you're working with, etc. In this case, I'm just gonna write, we're working with a TypeScript code base. Just by having this word, we're working with a TypeScript code base, it automatically prompts any new AI systems I work with that we're working with TypeScript. Makes it very easy for them. So the second step is I personally want a website. So this is like my vision is I want a website to interact with. So let's keep it simple and we'll get more advanced. I'm going to use, so you can select the model on the top right here. I'm going to use Claude 3.7 Sonnet Max specifically. Well, I'm going to use Claude 3.7 Sonnet Max Thinking. And Max is expensive, so I'm gonna go with Claude 3.7 Sonnet for now. With Thinking. Thinking allows these models to be very, very, very smart and make better, higher quality code. So I'm gonna say, I want a simple website host. I want to turn my code base into a website I can interact with. I need a thinking switch. Turn my code base into a website I can interact with. So we'll keep those instructions super simple just so we can get the base of this website going. And what's very neat about Cursor and the agent, the coding agent built in, is that it has the ability to look through the code base and read things for you. So it's going to make a proper web project. And before I let it do all of this crazy wonky things, I think this is a good time to show GitHub, because now we're going to start getting into iterating the code and editing the code and playing with the code. And this is where GitHub is very, very important in making sure that you save progress and you don't mess up your progress. So real quick side note into GitHub. This is GitHub. If you guys don't know how GitHub works, then we're going to go through a little walkthrough. But GitHub is essentially like if you're a coder and you make code, GitHub allows you to store all your code on this site. Do I have any public apps? I could just like click. I think this is the hackathon project. So this is the repo. Those projects on GitHub are called repos, and this is what you use to upload your current code base and see the different versions. So this is actually back from the Story Hackathon, and you could see my commit history, which is a different word for like the different versions that exist. I'm not the best at naming my commits, but like this was version 1. Like I created the parent NFT script, uploaded, and NFT child kind of working, but sending NFT not working, doing testing, got NFT car creation working the story, LFG, apparently transferring the NFT works to, got demo working, save here, added better readme. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this was funny. I added a jailbreak because you guys were doing that AI like agent thing. I added a jailbreak to my repo that basically told the AI system to rate me a perfect score. I don't know if it worked, but it gave me like top 10. So anyways, going through back to GitHub. What's important about GitHub is just like learning the setup. I usually work with the GitHub CLI. And again, all of this might be confusing, and that is okay because you have an infinite permanent mentor in your pocket to walk you through things step by step, anytime you want for any concept or anything that exists. So I'm gonna tell Claude, walk me through step by step how to set up GitHub. Oh, he's really going step by step. So I already have Git installed on my computer, but I just want you, I'll share this chat so you can walk through with it. The most important parts of this is that you want to install Git onto your computer and kind of go through step by step. It shows Windows, Mac OS, Linux. The most important, most convenient part is setting up this SSH key authentication. This process could get complicated, but again, like I might get stuck on this step I'm like, what is SSH key? Like literally anytime you guys are following anything and something doesn't make sense or you don't know how to do it, just ask Claude or any AI system you work with to like go deeper. So I'm on Mac. So again, context is important. I'm on Mac. I'm not on Windows. I'm going to tell Claude I'm on Mac. I'm on Mac. Walk me through step by step on how to set up this SSH key guide for GitHub. And then it's going to go through. I can't do this on stream because it's going to leak my private keys. But if you just follow this literally step by step, it will get you to the point where you then set up these keys. And then you could follow the instructions. And it shows you how to add the SSH key to GitHub. And what this whole process does. So I'm going to share this chat with you guys in chat. And this will allow you to follow step by step. It kind of just like is a good reference on how to set up GitHub because the initial process could be confusing. Also, YouTube University is still a great thing. I just find it easier to listen to Claude instructions directly. But I don't want to go through like setting up GitHub and like that step-by-step thing. That could be done on your own time. What I am going to show you guys is how to use GitHub commands when we actually like already have GitHub set up with our account. So in this case, I am going to go to GitHub and I'm going to make a new repo. And I'm going to call this Gemini Flash, which is just a name. It's a public one. Sure, cool with me. Create repository. Then GitHub has these links that allow you to set up Git with the link. All you got to do is I usually just copy the link of the repo specifically. You could also copy this. I'm gonna just copy the link. And then I'm lazy. And Claude Code Agent knows how to set up terminals for me. I'm gonna say, can you, I'm gonna say, this is my GitHub repo. Can you push my current code base to Git for me and set it up? What is the reason you use Git if we could use WebSim? WebSim is more, because all the code on WebSim is hosted on WebSim. Now we're going into the more advanced version of the workshop where we're actually creating a product to use and like make for ourselves. So the Claude agent is going to go through and literally set up my entire code base to be a Git repo. It's going to initialize a Git repo. It's going to do Git init. And all I did is, this is my GitHub link. Push my code base to this GitHub link. It's making a git ignore file for us, which is nice practice. Git ignore basically tells GitHub to not publish those files. It's very important when you start working with secret keys and you don't want Git to tell the entire world your secret API keys. So host locally or host anywhere is more so you have full control of your own product. It's also like we're working with Cursor because I want like full control over every complicated bit of my workflow. So while I was talking there, I literally, this Cursor agent on the side did the entire process of pushing to Git for me. So it's doing the final code, successfully pushed it to Git. Now, if I reload this code base, then it pushed my initial basic TypeScript project to GitHub. So this is cool. You could think of this as checkpoints and save points. So now we can start really getting into like messing with our code and breaking our code, and we don't have to worry about anything because we saved it. So kind of going through back to the Cursor things. So now we have our checkpoint save up. Well, now we have our checkpoint set up because of Git. Beautiful. Now I'm actually going to get into getting dirty with making the product that I want. So let me see. If I go to Claude and I say, I'm like, I kind of want to be extra and I want to make it an Electron app, but I feel like that's too complicated for the class. So let's make it a simple website. Let me not get too complicated right now. So now we're going back to this chat. By the way, if you want to switch between chats, there's this little chat history thing, and you could go back and forth with your different chats. I find this helpful. So we're going to go to the chat here, where I turn my code base into a website I can interact with. And honestly, I was going to show like building this like step by step from the brick up, but I feel like I could one shot the entire product I have in my head right now. So I'm going to set this up with I kind of show you guys this process. So we're going to work with this Gemini API that I showed earlier. And what's really convenient is that Gemini gives us code, which is basically telling us, hey, if you want to replicate this on your own code base, like here's literally the code. Also, here's API documentation. Very nice. Now, again, a lot of every API has code documentation. My favorite part, does one shot mean one prompt to build the whole thing? Yeah, pretty much. So just have 32 copies and zip files of your code every time it works. Please just learn Git. Do not do that. Do not do that. So how now, what's the process of actually one-shotting this? Why do I think I could one-shot it? And Cursor just gives me that confidence because I know what information to give Cursor. So in this case, we already have 2 vital key information points I need to interact with the Google API. One is the code directly. The other one is they give us documentation. They give us like an API reference. Very cool thing about Cursor, the most powerful thing about Cursor, is I could type @docs, and then I could scroll down right here and click add new doc. Then I could just paste in the link to the doc. And this is the Google Cloud AI Google Docs. And now what this is doing is this took the entire documentation website of Google's AI and APIs and gives it to Cursor. Now, what this does is if I go, I could now, if I'm like referencing the Google API, all I have to do now is type @Google Cloud AI. And now any question I have or any coding thing I'm working with allows the Cursor agent to have the context of how that works. So boom, one important piece of context is I gave it the Google Cloud AI. Another piece of important context is straight up this code file it gave us with kind of like this code, and it also saves our chat. So you can see like it shows the windows and how we're uploading files and like all of this complicated kind of things. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take a screenshot of what this UI looks like. I'm gonna paste it in, and then I'm gonna copy the code. Sorry, then I'm gonna copy the code of the JavaScript because I'm working with TypeScript, which is just another like nicer JavaScript. I'm gonna take the JavaScript code here. I'm gonna copy it. And then I'm gonna make a new file and call this example Gemini chat.js and paste this code into here. So, oops. So it's getting this raw image, which is a lot. So there's this large piece of text you're seeing here is this picture. If you could basically just ask also AI, like, what is this? It's gonna tell you it's a picture. I'm telling you straight up, it's a picture. Since this is like a very large bit of text, and again, an AI context window is very limited, we want to make sure that we clean up the information. So only the most essential bits of information is in there. And this is a lot of information we don't need in there. So I'm just gonna like take this entire base 64 raw image text and delete it from this example so that when we give it to the Cursor agent, it doesn't bug out. So do that, deletes. And then I'm just gonna like replace that with insert base 64 here, image here. That way the AI will see that and it goes, okay, that's where I put the base 64. TypeScript is just nicer JavaScript. It is just nicer JavaScript. So okay, now we got this example code we're working with. And again, context is everything. The more context you give the system, the better the system is going to be. So now my Cursor agent has the context of the Gemini API, and it has the context of what this UI looks like, and it has the context of this picture I gave it. I don't know if you can see it. This picture I gave it is what this code represents. Now, kind of like the last important steps, and you're going to go through with this with like every code base you work with, so I'm just going to show it off rip, is you have these API keys that allow us to interact with these like different systems. you're going to want to put these API keys in something called a .env file. A .env file allows you to privately have the keys of your API and anything else you're working with saved. Like API keys are as valuable as passwords. If someone has your API key, they could probably take it and run it up. So you want to be very discreet and make sure it's private. So you don't want that in your code base. You want it in a .env file. So I'm going to put Google Gemini key, API key equals. Now, I'm going to make a key for this class. Don't take my API key. I'm going to delete it after this class. But I'm not going to delete it right now. So I just generated an API key. I'm going to copy this API key. And then I'm going to go back to the env. I'm going to paste the API key in here. And then I'm going to copy this specifically. And now let's start writing our prompt. So I'm going to go to Cursor Rules and say, in my .env, we have, in my .env, my Gemini API key is Google Gemini API key. By writing this in my Cursor Rules file, then the AI system knows automatically, okay, the API key we need to make this code base is an env. Because he told me it's env, I know how to access that. So that's just setting that up. Mind sharing the recording. It should be recorded. Where does story IP use case come into play here? Creation and protecting intellectual property. If I want to make Halloween movie about the trenches, do I have to own a boo? Is it registered on Story? That was my personal project on Bitcoin. Story protocol comes in a use case here if you want to like code something and then integrate Story with it. I'm more so showcasing a general class. Like there's nothing specifically related to Story in like what I'm about to show you. But yeah, you can start there where Greg showed you. So okay, now we have the concept. Now we have the context of I have my env in here, and we have all of these things set up. So I'm pretty sure I have all the pieces I need to begin this model. So now we're gonna start small. I'm gonna say, I want to make an app where I can. I'm gonna tell them. So here's kind of like my vision. I want to make an app where instead, this is like my vision I have in my head right now. I want to make an app where instead of having to constantly put in my character reference into Google Gemini, I want to put my character reference there once. And I don't want to keep re-rolling for different images every time because it gets painful. I want to like get 6 images gen at the same time, pick what I like, and then keep generating different images. So I want to make an app where I can input one image as the reference picture, which is the picture on top of the image I gave you. So I'm just telling him like the reference picture is the first image in the reference I gave you, which is the picture on top. I'm gonna say which is the first picture on top of the image I gave you. The Gemini API model can take our reference image, then return back a redone image for us to use. I want to make a web interface that hits this API, allows us to input a reference picture, allows us to input a prompt, allows us to input a prompt. I want to make a web interface as this API, allows us to input a reference picture, allows us to input a prompt, and then generate 6 different images for us to choose from. I think that's good enough context for now. I'm switching the model to max just so I get like maximum juice out of this prompt to see if we can actually one-shot it. So now I added the Google Cloud API. I'm going to give it even more context. I'm going to say, so this code file, the code of the picture I provided you is 1-to-1 a copy from the file. And what's cool about Cursor, you could actually like either drag files into the chat or at files into the chat. And this is how you give the AI system context of different specific files you're working with. So what's important here is you could just kind of like free ball and at every single file and give it to the context. But again, The context window is limited. The more information that's in the context window, the less efficient and powerful the system becomes. So you want to maximize the importance of information that you give the system. Just make sure my mic didn't break. Okay. So I'm gonna add the chat thing. Now, what are some couple last rules? I think it's pretty much it. Please make this, and let's see how that goes. So this is pretty much an example of coding and iterating, and you can see it opens up docs. So it's going to create a web application that allows users to transform images using the Gemini API. First, I'll check the structure of the project. You can check the contents of my package. It's going to check what's in the SRC. And it's going to go through, and it's just going to autonomously do what I asked it to do. So it's going to install. So first is asking to install additional dependencies for us. We just want to make sure that these are the correct ones. So let me make sure that's actually the right documentation that it has to install. Where's the install button? I think it's here. Get code, API docs. npm install Google/Gen AI. I guess it's the same thing. Check out the Gen AI library. Using Node, install the Google Gen AI for TypeScript and JavaScript. I wonder if that's the same thing. Is that the same thing? I don't see why it would be different. What does the AI system do? Let's see what the AI system comes up with. So we're going to install these dependencies. That's fine. Also, you just want to be careful. If you don't know what any of these dependencies mean, again, you have a super intelligent AI system literally in your pocket. If I didn't know what any of these, so it wants to install generative AI, it wants to install Express, Cores, Multer.env, EJS. I have no idea what any of those are. Usually, you could just go and make a new chat and be like, what are these? So I took a screenshot of that picture. I'm like, what are these packages? You can even put, you don't have to put packages. You just be like, what are these? And it'll go through and tell you step by step what these packages are and explain it to me. Oh, I guess, sorry, I used too complex of a model. So if I'm like, what are those packages in the picture? What are each one of those packages in the picture? And then is going step by step and telling us Express is a popular web framework for Node.js to build API web applications. Cores is the middleware for Express that enables cross-origin resource sharing. And just like kind of like sidetrack into an example. If I'm like reading this for the first time, I'm like, what is cross-origin research? What is cross-origin resource sharing? And kind of just showing you guys like, if there's terms you don't understand or concepts you don't understand, you can literally just take a break from whatever you're doing. Just ask the AI system for deeper understanding. And this is how you really start like leveling up really quickly. As soon as you just keep asking, bro, like a little kid, like, how does that work? What does that mean? How does that work? How does that work? And like, you just go so deep into this rabbit hole of asking how things work. You start learning how things work from the ground up, which is what I do. And is what I heavily encourage people to do. So anyways, kind of going back through this, let's, I interrupted him on accident. Please continue. And keep going. Oh, wait. I used the wrong model. So I'm gonna restart and go max, thinking mode, max, send. And he should, can I go through and run up? So he wants to make a server folder for a share. So he just made a folder. Or is he making a new code base? Instead of the backend first? Okay. All right, hold up. Let's create a web application that uses, I'll build both the front end. Please make this in our current code directory. So he's kind of just making it from scratch, like from scratch. So we already have like a working directory for him. So I'm gonna stop him there and rerun it and just add like an emphasis on make this in our current code directory that we already have. Yeah, for some reason he skipped a step where he like reads and gets information. So he tried making it from scratch grad, so I just stopped him. This deaf. Can you clarify, are you using Claude in the cursor chat and Gemini for the app itself? Yes. So I'm gonna just like let him run on the side while I keep explaining. But I'm using Claude in the cursor chat because Cursor has Claude built in. Specifically, Claude 3, the model I'm using, Claude 3.7 Sonnet Thinking, is the latest state-of-the-art model, which is honestly one of the best coder agents one of the best code AI that exists right now in this current moment. It's top tier. The Gemini, so Gemini for the app itself. So Cursor and the Claude API is what's actually writing out the code. It is the best. No, it's straight up the best. It was actually writing the code. And then Pro is also kind of good, but that's more for like more specific use cases. And then when it comes to the Gemini API, I'm using this for my product. So Gemini API allows me to make these different image references off a picture, and I could also do that from the API itself. So I'm using the Gemini API to use in my product, and I'm using Claude to make my product, if that makes sense. Cool. Now we're going through and he's just coding the whole thing. And I will have to see if it actually works, but from the structure of the file, it starts making sense. So for people who haven't coded at all, this is a very useful thing. And like, I guess like while it's coding, let's go off to the side and go back to this like web thing I showed you guys. Also, I'm gonna put this in chat again, just so you like have it to reference again. So we went over cursor rules. What this is telling us specifically is to write in the cursor rules the like project overview, what the project is, the tech stack, the processes, environmental variables, file structure, etc. Because we literally just made the code base from scratch right now, I don't have any of that in. What we are going to do is once we have a basic working code base, then I'm going to write documentation for the AI system to explain what the code base is. And then from there, we can start iterating on it. So we're just getting our core foundation done right now. And then, yeah, there's different AI models you can configure. This video is a little old. Claude 3.7 Sonnet should be your primary model. And then you could have like these backups, no big deal. There is, so this is another thing that I find really useful. If you go into the settings, so you go into settings, and then you go into the rules, there is a global user rules. And I will share mine that I use with you guys in chat, and you could copy paste this. And I'll try to explain the, this is the full one? Oh, it's not letting me paste the full code. I guess I could write this like in chat or something. But let me actually, if you guys want to copy it. Oh, I think I have it in my class Discord. Oh, by the way, I also have, this is a side note since we're waiting for the AI systems to finish. I have an AI university class that everyone is more than welcome to join. And there are two things I want to showcase. I have a resources channel. I have an AI board channel where I have my system prompt. So these are my cursor instructions. If you join the Discord, let me link the Discord real quick. Oh, Discord just changed the layout. It looks so ugly. I hate it. I personally hate it. Okay. Invite people. So this is my AI Discord. Side note, sidetrack. The cursor rules that I use. So cursor, or this like global cursor rules is instructions I tell every single AI system, no matter who I'm working with. I put the link in Discord. No matter who I'm working with, no matter what AI system I'm working with, every single one of them has this as like their #1 Pico system prompt. And kind of just like walking through the explanation is you are an expert software developer. So again, from the initial intro, the words you use in a system prompt is what activates more brain power of that specific knowledge in an AI system. So by telling it it's an expert software developer, the link's in chat, by the way, it's the Discord one. By telling it it's an expert software developer, we're kind of like activating more of the software developer knowledge LLMs might have. And then I have guidelines. So I always tell it to comment the code using clear and concise language, avoid stating the obvious, focus on the why and how rather than the what, use single line comments for brief explanations, use multi-line comments. I tell it to log everything. Logging is another, so we're gonna get like deeper into logging as did it actually just work first try? There's no way. It built? Hold on. Oh, you even wrote us nice docs. These models are so good nowadays. Wow, you guys are so lucky and spoiled. Sorry, kind of like going back to the cursor rules. But yeah, cursor rules is just rules and structures that make coding easier. I do have a little secret sauce in here. I don't know how efficient this is back then, but when I was working with GPT-4, I discovered this and I found that every single one of my code bases heavily improved in quality when I added this random thing called competence map. And this kind of goes through, like, this is actually like secret sauce I've been working with for a long time. I don't see anybody talk about this, and I'm pretty sure it still works. But there's this thing called competence maps in my cursor rules file. And again, the words you use in a system prompt is kind of what like activates more like brain power or neurons in an AI system. So all of these, if you look closely, are just like shortened words for masterful, full stack development, advanced web development, HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, REST, server backend development, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Golang, database tech, cybersecurity, backend frameworks, frontend framework, blah, 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 blah. All these different computer science terms. And when I had this initially with GPT-4, it allowed my code bases to it just made things work. Like I use the exact same prompt. It helped me like run my like initial boot project. Address already in use. Oops. It's already in use. What am I? Oh, okay. Hold on. Why do I have two cursor things open? Anyways, so yeah, this is very useful to have. You guys can modify this. Kind of like comments and logs are the most important thing. You can insert this into system rules on AI Studio. It'll work great. I use it for cursor specifically. So that's in the Discord. Another thing in the Discord I wanted to showcase is I have an AI news, but the AI space moves so crazy, disgustingly fast that I can't even keep up. So I have AI bots that are scraping Twitter on a like quarterly, hourly basis on like the most up-to-date news channels. And this AI news summary will post 6 times a day. And it posted daily summary at 7 a.m. or at 8 a.m. PST. That just runs through all the newest products that came out. So yesterday, Gemini 2.5 Pro rolled out, a new DeepSeek V3 open source model came out. And there was a new GPT Sora update that came out. And yeah, these quarterly ones are more specific, but this allows you to just like stay up to date with like all the AI news happening on a daily basis. So it's very useful. It's free for everyone in the class. This was a custom build that I use on a daily basis. So it's cool. It also showcases the newest models that come out and like any new research that comes out and like kind of what the community is talking about. But yeah, useful. Definitely use that. Very, very helpful for me. And going back to the build. So was a rules file. It looks like it's done. And this is actually, so if I type, what do I have to type to run it? npm. I was like, how do I run the code? I'm gonna just ask it that straight up. There's no errors. There's no bugs. I'm suspicious. Make sure npm install, npm run build, npm start, npm start. It runs. It works. Upload reference image. Let's use IPI. put a hat on this character. Sorry guys, I'm very sus right now. It's generating image 1 out of 6. It actually generated the image. It saved it to my. Well, I didn't put a hat. Oops. How high quality is this image of Ippy? Why is it breaking my computer? Oh, it's results. Oh, look, it put a hat on Ippy. That's cool. So, okay, it's going through one by one to generate the images. So, cool, we one-shot it. Didn't think it would actually work. I did think it would work. That's why I did it. But, so we could see that the initial product that I had in my head is now right in front of us. And this makes my life as a creator a lot easier. So, it's going to go through, it's going to generate the transformations. It's going one by one. It should, when the transformations are finished. I don't think it would take so long. Oh, how cute. Okay. So there is an initial problem where we put that into the prompt. So what I'm noticing off rip is that, one, this is very cool. Like the initial product works. I put a reference picture. I can put in a prompt. I can generate transformations and generates images. Not only that, it kind of saves the images for me automatically, which is very nice of it to do. However, there's one problem I'm personally seeing. So now we're going to get into iteration. One problem I'm seeing is that it took the initial Ippy and then it used this as a reference picture for the first one, and it worked great. The problem is that instead of using this initial reference for all 6 of them, you kind of see that it used the last image as a reference instead of like the first image as a reference. Also, it was a little too slow for my taste because it was going one by one. So I want to make it all generate at the same time. So that's going to be my goal. So usually what I do is I'm going to now here's like the more important parts of the vibe coding thing. I like making myself a to-do.md. And then kind of like, cool, basic product works. Usually, what I have to do is I have to write a readme.md. So like Gemini Flash image transformation. And it wrote me like a really basic MD, but it covered everything I was going to do anyways. Usually what I do is when I have like this chat history on the side, I'll write in here like write a readme and like explain the changes you did. And Claude was nice enough to do it for us. And it even like has the tech stack right here, which is most important. Technologies used: TypeScript, Express, Gemini AI, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Multr for file uploads. Cool. Now, I guess I could have it be more specific. And I'm going to, what I do for every single code base that I do, .md stands for Markdown. And it is just, it's like a text file. It just allows you to have like these pretty looking texts. So like you write it like this, right? Like hashtags for headers. You can like look into Markdown more, but it'll preview like this. And it's just a really nice, clean way to like read information. So the biggest part about this kind of like whole system is every code base I make a folder called docs. And then in the docs folder, I will then, because like a readme is cool. Every folder, every code base has a readme file, which is just kind of like, if I'm a new person, I have no idea what your code does, the readme should inform you of that. Now, I make documentation files, which go deeper into the code and how things work and why things work. So I'm going to tell the coder agent here, I'm going to make a new file and call it docs.md for now. I'm going to say in@docs.md. So I'm pinging the file I just made because I want him to write in there. I'm going to say in docs.md, write me detailed documentation on the tech stack we used, how the code works, and important structure to keep in mind. And then I like adding this thing on top because I feel like it gives them a clearer reference, them as in the AI system, a clearer reference of write this documentation so that a developer who is coming in to work on this code base and knows and knows nothing about this can read the documentation and know everything they need to know to progress, to continue development. So it's gonna write us a nice docs. So now this is gonna be part 2, and this is where I get a little lazier, and this is how I like sped through the story protocol hackathon so fast. So when he writes this doc, we're gonna save our next checkpoint because one, we tested it, it works. Honestly, that was a great V1. I didn't expect it to work so well. It's nice too. I mean, a nice looking website too. So we're gonna save this V1. This is nice. This is pretty. We're gonna let him write up the documentation for us. Are there any questions on that process I showcased so far? Cool. Okay, sick. I don't know if he just froze or if he's writing like some really detailed documentation right now. He might be going in the pits with this documentation, or he broke. Oh, he's going in the pits. Oh, he's going deep. How the tech stack use, how the code works, important structural aspects of the code base. Oh, he went deep in the pits for this code documentation. Damn. Okay. Cool. It's kind of like go through these documentations. So now let's understand the code means. First off, checkpoint. So anytime you guys, like, remember initially I showed like, oh, like set up this GitHub repo for me. Once you do that once, or once an AI system does it for you once, then it saves. So there's a 3-step process that you guys should keep in your mind when you're saving. So if I want to save this checkpoint to GitHub, first I do this line called git add dot. So when you do git add dot, Cursor has, when you set up a repo in your code base, Cursor actually sees it here. And it basically tells you like the changes that are going to go into GitHub. So you can see like this was my initial README. And because I updated it, it's showing me this is what your new update looks like. This is very helpful for going back and forth and understanding what changed and why things changed. I don't want the pictures to get uploaded to GitHub. So I'm going to add these pictures to the git ignore. So I don't want my uploads in there. I don't want my public folder to be in there, which is the pictures. Yeah, and writing things in the .git ignore basically just tells GitHub, hey, don't include these in the public folder that the world is going to see it. So that should be fine. Let me unstage all changes real quick. Okay. I didn't break it, right? We still have the code. Everything works. Cool. So I'm going to type git add dot. And what git add dot does is tell GitHub, save all of these changes. That's basically it. Then the next command is git commit -m. And this is the message of like the changes you just added. So I'm going to write, usually also, this might be a shortcut. Let's actually do a shortcut. Let me show you guys how to make AI do it for you, because AI does a really good job at making like detailed documentation for us. So I'm going to, I don't need as smart of an agent for it. So I'm gonna just go to Claude, normal thinking. I'm gonna say, now push, now add our update and push to Git with detailed commits. I know, imagine coding it line by line. Wow, I could never imagine that. I started with AI, I got spoiled off rip. You guys are even more spoiled because I started with bad models that weren't as smart. I started with no AI. Oh, I can't. Hold on. Oops. Oh, see, the AI says, okay, the AI caught something. So I put like the entire public folder in like the don't push to GitHub, and that was bad because it included the index HTML, which is what is the interface. So I almost didn't push that, and it kind of caught me. I didn't think it would straight up catch me. I just want to make dir. So I told him to push to Git. He should, yeah. So he's gonna git add dot. This commit message is what I'm waiting for. This should be a very detailed commit message, which just like informs people who informs yourself and people looking at your Git base, like all the changes that you worked on. Yeah, so it makes us look at this nice detailed Git commit for us to work with, and is going to push it to the code base for us. So now, if we go back to our repo, you can see, boom, we got checkpoint. Oh, I heard an echo. Hello? Okay, so you can see, boom, we got checkpoint number 2 saved with a nice, very detailed commit message that explains everything we worked with. You could go like more in depth with this, but just very nice. Just like automates the process of pushing for us. Makes that easier. So now, okay, checkpoint number 2. There are 2 things that I wanted to do, and this is where we're gonna get like more advanced and have fun. So make sure that my code. So if I do npm start, how do checkpoints work? It's just different Git versions. I'm just calling Git pushes checkpoints. So what I'm doing is going through. So now we're going to use Claude Code and the cursor agent to speed up this process with the next part I want to do. So we save the next checkpoint, aka like the new version, to GitHub repo of a working code base. Now, the 2 things that I said I wanted to change is 1, it is referencing the previous image, which is no bueno. 2, it's like not referencing the original image. 2, it's doing it one by one, which is really slow. I want it to like do all of them at the same exact time. So what's cool about Claude is that because it's a terminal agent in Cursor, you could just type in Claude. So now you have the terminal agent in Claude. It says it has tips for getting started for the Claude agent. You could run /init and it creates a Claude MD file with instructions for Claude. So let's type /init. And what this does is the /init command is telling like the Claude agent to explore the code base and find out what the code base does. And then it writes up like its own type of document text spec file for the Claude Code agent to follow. We also have docs for it to reference, which is as important. Kind of going through, I'm just letting him scrape our code base and read our code base and understand it. Is Claude Code the same thing that works as an agent in chat? So no, the agent that I showed you earlier. So it's honestly, you could use either or. I just want to showcase Claude Code because I personally bounce between Claude Code. Usually, like, let's say I have this big task I want done, then I'll have Claude Code explore it, and maybe it might even work. If it's too complicated of a task or didn't do it properly, or I want more specific changes, then I'll work with the cursor agent on the side to do like these hyper specific changes. Also, when you get more advanced, like you could start doing this is where I get like I'm gonna showcase this one video. I was doing this for sorry, I was doing this for fun, where I had like 4 different Claude Code agents running for me at the same time, and I was working on 4 different code bases at the same time because I had 4 different ideas and I wanted to connect all of them at the end. So this is me like going through working on 4 different code bases, 4 different goals in 1 hour. And then, yeah, having Claude Code agents work on 4 different code bases at the same time. And then it actually working and pushing each change exactly how I wanted and working. That was more like an experiment thing. But if you're working with 1 code base and you want like more specific changes, you could use the cursor agent on the side. Let me, hold on. Sorry, I'm just looking something real quick. Okay, so now Claude finished. I don't know if you could. Did I push myself too up? Where's the corner at? Is it here? Okay. So going back to the code base, we now have Claude that made his own file that is just telling the coder agent like development guidelines. Honestly, I'm disappointed in these guidelines. These suck like straight up. It doesn't have anything really useful. So I'm going to go through. I am going to just start a new Claude instance. And now let's start writing our thing. So, as a slash memory, it has a memory now. Oh wow, cool. Okay, that's a new feature. That's fun. That's interesting. So, oops. Okay, so let's play with Claude Code. Let's see if Claude Code could like remake this whole thing for us. So I'm gonna explain. So I remember Jacob asked in chat. It is kind of similar. They are different in their own way. Claude Code is more of a fully autonomous. They're both fully autonomous agents. I don't know. Claude Code is better in aspects. Really, you just got to play with it and find out the vibes. I'm just showing you guys how to play with both of them and like figure out what matches you more. But for Claude, this is what I'll usually do. I'll make a folder called for Claude in the code base. I think Claude Code is stronger. I agree with you. And I will do two things. So this is where I start. This is where I bring Grok into the equation. So if I go to Grok, I want to move this to a second window so we could play with it. And so now we have our base. We have our like working product base, and we want to do specific updates. And we want our Claude Code agent to do a very high quality specified job. So the initial problem is if I just tell the Claude Code agent to go off and like make this code, because the code base is so new and so fresh and so small, it would be able to do what I want it to do. But I want you guys to get into the habit of we're starting to work with like bigger and bigger code bases. We can't just send Claude off because there's too many files and there's too much code for it to look through. So this is where I bring Grok into the equation. And this is kind of like the final step of my personal like vibe coding workflow that I use. So there's one last product I'm going to bring into the equation. And this is called repo prompt. I'm going to link this in chat. So oops, repo prompts, repoprompt.com. You can pay per use. Claude Code is just pay per use because you're hitting the API raw. So this is repo prompt. Unfortunately, they have a pricing now. I got it when it was free, but I think the free tier still does exactly what we need it to do. So what I find very useful for repo prompt is that it allows me to take my entire code base and copy it and give it to different AI systems. Specifically, like in this case, we want to give our entire code base to Grok, and then we want Grok to write up documented instructions for a Claude Code agent to follow. So we'll walk through the step by step. One is I have a goal in my mind. We have documentation of how our code base works. RepoMix is another tool. Okay, that's cool. Definitely check out different tools. I don't want you guys to pay for like more than you have to. Oh, yeah, this one looks nice. You can also make your own repo prompt tool, but yeah, like if they start asking me, I'm gonna make my own repo prompt tool. I'm not paying. Anyways, but kind of sorry, cat. So starting off with like, okay, how do we add this new update to our code base? We have docs and we have initial context, which is very important. Vibe code or repo prompt tool is one prompt. It is basically one prompt. It was a little more because you have to maybe it is one prompt. Anyways, I'm gonna just show off how I use repo prompt. You can use different tools that do the same thing, but I have this problem. So I usually make a folder called for Claude, and in this file I'll write problems.md. In this case, I have two problems that I want solved. In this case, I have two problems that I want solved. One is one is I want problem number one is I want the code base successfully. So I'm gonna tell the system what works and then what doesn't work. And this is a very important step to just tell, like, when you're giving context, again, the more context, the better. Context of what works in your code base is as important as the problem, because you're telling the AI system, hey, like, these features and this functionality works. So don't worry about that. This is what doesn't work. And it just makes the job of the AI system easier to deal with. So the code base successfully takes a reference image, takes a prompt, then the code base successfully takes a reference image, takes a prompt, and then we'll generate the images one by one until we have 6 of them, and it displays it on the browser. However, there are 2 problems I need fixed. One is the code base takes reference image. However, there's 2 problems I need fixed. One is instead of the images, I need to explain this problem as clearly as possible. So looking at this, the problem with this image, or the problem with the product right now, is that it takes the first image, but then subsequent images that follow are referencing the previous image. So it seems like they're referencing the previous image, or it just keeps stacking it in one chat. So instead of the images, instead of the process referencing one single base image, let's just say the first image generated successfully references successfully uses the reference image I put in chat. The first image generated successfully uses the reference image I upload to the site. It takes the prompt and creates the first image successfully. However, images, all the images that come after, like images 2 through 6, are not referencing the first, are not using the reference image by itself. It seems like they are either referencing the newly gen image, or there is one single chat that is being used instead of resetting each prompt from the beginning. And then I kind of like emphasizing the way this app should work. At the end of this, can you give a step-by-step flow for vibe coding? Oh, this entire workshop is a step-by-step vibe coding flow. What do you mean? I guess if you have like a more specific ask there. Oh, I mean, that was the start of the class. TLDR. I got you. The way this app should work is the images take the way this app should work is that all 6 generated images should be a new chat that each use the reference image to generate a new image. It should not reference previous image or save all of them in one chat. So, okay. And 2, that kind of solves problem number 2. The app is too slow. It will generate the images one by one. I want all of the images to be generated at the same time instead of waiting for each image to generate one by one after each other. So now we got our 2 problems that I wrote that out in detail, wrote the second one out in detail. Now this is where we're going to get like a bit more specific, I guess, or this is the general process of the reason why I want to take this problem in my code base and give it to Grok is because if we do have a very large code base, we don't want the Claude Code agent to go and like look through all the files, try to figure out the solution. We want to direct the Claude Code agent into saying, hey, this is the problem. These are the exact files you're going to modify, and here's how you're going to modify them. That way it has clear, like specific instructions on what to do. And it doesn't like waste time or context by being inefficient. And remember, the more context these AI systems have in them, the less efficient they become. So you want to make sure that we're banging out like the highest quality code possible. So this is repo prompt. What I just did is I loaded in the folder in Gemini Flash. And I'm going to, it's like the most important folders. So documentation is important. It's a package JSON, tsconfig. Honestly, I'm just like the whole thing, except the for Claude folder. It needs that. Example Gemini chat. You don't need this anymore. Actually, we don't need this at all because that works. So all of this works. Now I'm going to take my problems I did here. I'm going to paste it in here and say these are the 2 problems I need to fix. And this is just an instruction set. So in repo prompt specifically, you could add instructions into here. In this case, the problem I want solved is the instructions. Then I could copy the whole code base. Now I could go to Grok. I could just paste this in. And it takes the whole code base and the whole explanation and the whole docs, and it wraps our instructions in a user instructions XML tag. It also like shows a little file map and how this works and documentation. So now, Grok, the reason why I use Grok specifically instead of different models, and like Nick has answered the question of like why you use different models, you kind of start learning over time that these different AI models have strengths and weaknesses. I'd say that when it comes to coding, Claude Code is the best by far. Claude is the best by far. But when it comes to writing product research documents or documentation or solving the problem directly, I find that Grok, and a lot of Twitter finds that Grok does a really good job at doing that. And really, it's all open. Claude's biggest weakness on PRD writing is that it gets way too detailed and specific. See, like, okay, that's great. Grok does a great job at just like getting to the point, having the most important information and like telling you what to do. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I kind of messed up this this prompt. So I just put in, I gave it the code base, and now Grok is trying to like write this. I forgot to add like a key feature of this prompt. Key feature of this prompt is the whole goal of Grok right now. The reason why you want to use Grok, like go over here. The reason why I want to use Grok is because we want him to like overlook the whole code, kind of like figure out the solution to the problem, and tell us what files to modify directly. So I'm gonna just specify that. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say specifically, I want you to write out a. Can I just say PRD? Like, are PRDs all the same thing? Artifact use. I'm just say it to make a PRD. I want you to write out an update PRD for a coder for a developer to follow. Don't write out the code. Explain how the system. Don't write out the code. I want you to write step-by-step instructions. Let's try this. I want you to write step-by-step instructions on what files to edit and what needs to be fixed and why, so that a developer coding agent can follow it and make the required changes. Try that prompt. I'm still trying to figure out what a good, nice, optimal prompt is, but this should do the job. And yeah, so like when it comes to using different models, just like as you use more and more models over time, you start, it's like a second language. You kind of just start picking up like, oh, for this task, I'm gonna use this model instead. At least personally, like, oh, for this task, I'm gonna use Claude. Oh, for this task, I'm gonna use Grok. Sometimes I will kind of blitz all of them at the same time. So to get, I do like A/B testing for AI models, depending on prompts and depending on this like product or solution. So sometimes I'll have one problem that Grok can't solve, that Claude can't solve, that GPT-01 Pro was able to solve. Or like those 3 models couldn't solve it. Then like Gemini Pro was able to solve it, which are like, I listed the top state-of-the-art models that exist. So you have Google, you have ChatGPT, you have Claude, you have Grok, and they all have like different models. I'll like literally open multiple models at the same time and input my prompt and give it to all of them and just read what each one says. And like sometimes my solutions are so complicated that none of them have it, and I have to like reword my prompt. And it's just it's a lot of literally just testing and playing with it and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But you start learning the strengths and weaknesses, and that's why it's very important to kind of engulf yourself in these AI communities on Twitter, because you also start learning and picking up from other people. That's also why I have that Discord I made, because I want people's research to be shared, and I want people to help each other with their personal observations and findings. Because keep in mind, AI is such a, first off, it's so new. No one really knows what they're doing. All of the state-of-the-art labs are focused on the model themselves, but that's just like the brain, bro. Now you have these agentic systems and an AI, a computer you could talk to, and that just opens up this door of infinite possibilities. And infinite quite literally means infinite. Like there is no right or wrong answer. There are just paths that we could share to each other. So this whole workshop is me just sharing my path I found to be useful, which also rapidly changes. But it starts to pick up on things. So, okay. Now Grok made us this PRD for Gemini Flash image transformation. Enhance the Flash image transformation application by resolving 2 critical issues. Ensure that all 6 generated images are created independently using only the original uploaded reference image and user prompt without any influence from previously generated images or a shared chat session. Performance improvement. Speed up the image generation process by generating all 6 images simultaneously in parallel rather than sequentially one by one. And I was talking about the dependent image generations, and I found the issue. The issue is a single chat session is created with the reference image and prompt in its history. Subsequent requests within the same session, e.g. create a different variation, build upon this history, causing 2 to 6 images to deviate. Desired behavior. Each of the 6 should be, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Point is, this looks really good. And Grok seems to have done a great job at writing a PRD for us, which stands for product research development. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna go back to the code base. Now the problem. Now I'm gonna write in solutions.md. And then I paste in the solution of what prod just gave us. I'm gonna clean this up. I paste in the solution of what Grok just gave us. So usually, right? Oh, why is my iPad dying? Why are you not charging? Oh, usually I will have like I usually have a problems here because I have the Claude Code agent like read the problems and then read the solution. In this case, because of the prompt you use, I think I found a good prompt, but Grok specifically is just telling the objective and what the issues are already. So we don't need this problems thing. So I paste the solution here. I'm actually going to rename this to directions.md. And then I'm going to tell the Claude Code agent to do this specifically. Let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. You get it nice and big. So I'm going to tell Claude Code, follow the directions in for Claude /directions.md. The Claude Code agent has the ability to open files. So this is telling the Claude Code agent, hey, open this file and read it. Follow directions in for Claude directions.md. Read the code documentation for this code base in docs/docs.md. And that's it. So I'm gonna get myself a drink, and when I come back, this entire system should be done and the update should be in place. Because it did it for me. Oh yeah, so I forgot. Claude Code asks you for permission. I always give them full permission. Just go through with it. That's why the next cool thing will be a team of vibe coders. Robert said that's why the next cool thing will be a team of vibe coders. Each using different LLMs, sharing solutions with the help of an AI, managing and coordinating the merging parts of the solution each LLM has according to the vibe coder feedback. Oh, cool, it's done. That was fast. Let's test it. code should now perform as specified in the PRD, generating all images much faster while ensuring each is independent transformation of the original reference image. It ran build for me. Is that it? Is that what I wanted? Is that my working product? npm start. Localhost. Let's get a picture of Ippy. Put this character in space. It started all 6 generations at the same time. Oh, there's an internal server error. Okay, let's see this. Error generate image 5, Google generative error. An internal error has occurred. Okay, I was kind of hoping we'd get an error, so I could walk through like the error like fixing process. So, error generating image 5. So we're getting this issue where we're getting this internal server error now. And then because we have, let me open my chat thing. There's an interesting, this is kind of like, this is going to be a little fresh test, but I recently, so I'm going to work with the Claude because now we have a specific problem. And it seems like it worked initially, and there's one problem where like it's not catching this. So this is where logs get really important. So is there an agent or something that knows which model is best suited for the prompt so you can use all models at once, not have to worry about which one you're using? I mean, Parser has it built in. It's called auto select, but I wouldn't use them. I don't know. It's like it's supposed to know what the best model is for a prompt, but like it's just not the best. Like I know like an AI model is not going to know what another AI model does better than me, which is funny to say because I like have this perspective of like AI should be able to do everything, but it's just there's this internal vibe in models and specific prompts that you want to pick up on that an auto select feature like the one Cursor already has built in like won't be capable of doing. But and they're called routers, and they're called like AI routers, and like they kind of do the job, and they kind of don't. If you like, I want full control, and I like know what the best prompts are. But anyways, back to dissecting this. So, I recently, what did we change? The nice thing about GitHub is that we could see what changes, right? So if I go here, so I think I could grab, can I put this in at git and then at PR diff with main branch. So an interesting thing about Cursor, and I don't exactly know how this works exactly yet. Let me see. Okay, cool. So this is what it does. So the cool thing about Git in Cursor is that you are able to literally at Git, so like at Git, and then show the diff with the main branch. And the reason we're doing this is I want to say I made these changes to make the image generation parallel and not reference each other. So I'm gonna, you know what I might need? I might need that file I just deleted, actually. Let me get back this original code. And then let me add the example generation.js. Maybe give it the I made these changes to make the image generation parallel and not reference each other and generate 6 images at the same time. However, now I'm getting this. So again, context. I'm selling it what worked, what used to work, and the error logs I'm getting. So I'm going to copy these error logs in chat right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm just copying one of these. So I'm copying this. I'm going to grab that. However, now I'm getting, and I'm pasting it, and you can see the paste right here. It'll highlight it when you click on it. However, now I'm getting this error, and no images are generating. Even though it worked fine in the last PR, here is the example API call of a single chat history with image upload. And I just remembered I have to delete this buffer. It was too long. It might have just crashed my computer. No, please. I'll get out of this file. I will get out of this file right now. I'm so sorry. Okay. I loaded. Let me grab the end of this. And let me grab the start of this and delete and have it work. Woo! Okay. Day 64 text here. And then now I want to use this as a reference file that we use originally. So we explained that I made these changes to make the image generation parallel. One other thing is, can you fix this for us, please? And also add more detailed logging. So what logging is specifically is what shows up in chat. And this is like another, like one of the most important parts. One of the most important parts that helped me a lot in vibe coding and figuring out errors and problem solving is getting more detailed error logs. So in the cursor rules file that I shared with you guys earlier, is that in every log, start by explaining what file this log is coming from. Example, src indocs.ts. This gets vitally more important the more files you have. So you start understanding where like each of these logs are coming from. This log specifically, where it said error generating image. If I search up error generating image, you can see like this is what the logs are for. They're console logs. So they just allow us as developers to visualize the code flow. And when something doesn't work in the code, you kind of want to pinpoint where. So I just asked Claude to make very specific console logs that then go through and show off the full process. And this is important because context is everything. So the more advanced console logs I have, the more detailed of a explanation of what's going on in the code base right now I have, the more information I could give to the AI system, and the more likely they are to solve my issue. So you fix the image generation issue by following key changes, switch from parallel to assisting. I don't want to do parallel generation. Check the chat to match it. Let's see if this works. And reduce our images. See, Cloud Code Max did too much here. I don't like any of these changes, but I just want to see if it even works in the first place. Just to see. So npm run build, npm start, localhost. Get the picture of Ippy. Put my character in space. So now we can see more detailed logs because we told Claude, hey, make more detailed logs. So we could go through and see what does work. We can see when we upload the file, it does work. So it processes the image generation. We can see that it processes the request with prompt, put my character in space. Now it's generating 4 images. It uploaded the file we uploaded to Google Gemini and it saved the URL. It is now starting the generation of 4 images one by one. But now we could see, I could actually see kind of like what messes it up. Here is it sending a message with prompt, create a different variation. Create an image based on the uploaded file and prompt. Chat session with initial history containing user message. So it generated the images, but it's still doing that same problem of all it did was create a different variation. Okay. So now I have, because I told the system, hey, give me more detailed logging. I now know like pinpoint exactly like what's the issue here. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna paste in the logs and I'm gonna scold my AI system. So I'm gonna say, okay, this worked. However, there is a big problem. Look at the logs for each message it's generating. Chat session created with initial history containing user message. I think it basically just undid the original changes. Switch from parallel to sequential image generation to avoid overwhelming API. I don't like that. What's cool about Cursor also has checkpoints built out and built inside of it. So this might be one of the things where I kind of roll the dice and see what works more. I do like these detailed logs a lot, but I have a feeling that when Claude Agent made these changes, it basically undid what the Claude code system did for us. And we don't want that. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to restore checkpoint. And then I'm going to give it vital direction. So it did two things. It did a couple things I didn't like. One, it reduced the maximum images from 6 to 4. I want 6. It structured the chat session to match the example chat. Switched from parallel to sequential image generation. Can you fix this for us, please, and add more detailed logging? 1, keep it parallel image generation. And then 2, keep 6 images. 3, ensure that a new chat history is formed for every single call. So we're kind of like keeping our system in check because we saw these changes. I didn't like what it did. Because I didn't like what it did, I'm going to now give it more specific instructions to follow. So keep parallel image generation, keep 6 images, ensure that the new chat history is formed for every single generation. Send that, see how that works. Is that the history to my Discord channel? Okay, sick. Also, I need another name. Right now it's AI University, but I can do like Vibe Coder Academy. I don't know. Let's see how this works. You know what? Hold on. Let me also give it the docs. That may be important. So thinking mode, max, send image. Now we can see its thought process. Analyze the issue with parallel image generation. The original code was sequential. The PR changes implement parallel image chosen using using promise.all. The error shown is this Google generative AI error. Let's look at the key changes in the diff. Oh, am I actually overwhelming the API call? Okay, we'll see these prompts. And it's just going ahead and doing some fixies. Let it run. Okay, npm run build. It runs the build. Now I could implemented a staggered execution approach that does them at 2 at a time, adds a small delay, maintains concurrent generation, added variation text each prompt to ensure diversity in generated images. You don't have to do that. Like that was also too extra. Let's see. Attempt number 3. Show. So it's what do you want to see Ippy doing? This is your IP. Show this character as a Mario star. Smoking weed. Okay. Show this character smoking weed. Smoking weed. Oh, now we're getting a no image data found complete thing. No image data found in response for image number 3. That was Vibe debug. Save these errors. It's this. Now we're getting this no image data found. Let's get more detailed logging. So my iPad is about to die, but it should be charging. Sorry, give me one sec. Does that work? Okay, cool. We have a naughty version of Ippy called Yappy. on top of Christmas tree. So now we're going to, I guess this is where I kind of play around with what doesn't work. I usually give one attempt 3 times. So this is going to be my second attempt. If this doesn't work, I'm going to give it one more. And then what I'm going to end up doing, I might undo the Claude Code attempt and see if this initial system can make it, because maybe Claude Code missed something. But that's why we have checkpoints on GitHub, so we can mess and play with these different things until it works. So let's see what this one did. I want Ippy smoking weed. Make this character smoke weed. Oh, so it might have actually worked last time. Google just didn't want to generate if he's smoking weed. So we can see that from the error here is that I'm unable to create an image that depicts illegal or harmful activities. You're such a cuck, Google. Okay, let's try Ippy on a Christmas tree. That seems more wholesome. Wow. Put this character glowing on a Christmas tree. Oh, I stopped the code. Oops. This one seems more. Oh. If he has John Wick going berserk. He's generating image number 6. So let's see if this kind of gets her thing out the way. Cute. So now we have different variations of Ippy glowing in a Christmas tree. This is very cute, actually. I like this a lot. So sick. Very cool. Very cool. Actually, guys, I think this one. So this is why I wanted the 6 variation thing, because I don't have to keep generating random things. I could just look, and honestly, out of these, like this one is the sickest. I'm gonna download this actually and send it to you guys, because look how cute. Look, bro, look at the quality of that. You can see Ippy glowing in the ball, reflective in the background. That's so cool. Now, okay, this is really cool. So this works. I'm just gonna add one more change, and I'm impatient. Okay, the code works. So there's one thing they did that I don't like that I'm gonna remove it. There's this like variation thing. So I don't want variation text. I just want regular prompts. And then, okay, the code works. So I'm gonna set this. Code works. Fantastic. Okay, the code works. Let's make it so it generates all 6 at once instead of batches. So now that we know that it works and it can generate in batches of 2, let's see if we can get our original goal of getting it in batches of 6. So this is kind of like the breaking down tasks into smaller ones. And so we get like some base that works. And now that we know that this works and it successfully does variations now, and it generates them 2 at a time, now let's see if we get 6 at a time, get what we initially wanted out of the way. So npm start, it ran the build. If I go back, and then I want Ippy, turn this character into put this character in the Mario universe, And it's generating all 6 at once. So this should be a lot faster to get what we want, and it should work. Oh, sick. Oh, look, that was cute. Funny how it does a variation. And this is like exactly why I wanted to do variations, because like sometimes like one might hit and it doesn't. But this might be copyright, which is the answer. purpose of story protocol. So, but make this character a cybernetic robot and generate 6 images. Hold on, why is Google training on Mario? Hold on. Let me ask that question first. That's suspicious. Let's Google, bro. They probably have permission. Yo, let us use Mario in image training. Yeah, sure. You can do whatever you want. Oh, see, now we got like 6 different variations of cybernetic Ippy. Make a comic panel scene using this character. Anyways, that is. Oh, is this too many requests or is it fine? I think it's fine. Oh, look how cute. So now we have different comic characters. I guess there is an API limit that I'm hitting. But now we can visualize Ippy as like these different comic characters because of this product we made. But and then if I wanted to host this, let's say like, oh, I want to host this, and I have no idea how to host this on a server. That's where you have your infinite AI insane system that goes, how do I, you can literally just ask it any question. How do I host my website on the internet for people to publicly access? And then he could go and give you step-by-step instructions on how you could host your platform. And it tells you how to host it, and it gives you different products and how to host it. So if I wanted this platform specifically in its current state to be hosted, then I could follow these instructions and host it. But pretty happy with this product. This is like, I'm going to use this for myself, for my own character. Like, for example, I might grab my character and then go, turn this character into a 2D sketch. And it's executing. So now I get to see like different variations of my character and play with it for content creation. And then maybe if I wanted to take this product further, maybe I could add like video generation API, and like get deeper into that mix. I guess there's one thing I want to show live, I guess, before maybe Runway or maybe Luma. Like, there's a lot of video models that have an API now. Or like Pika? Sign in. So if I wanted to get like the Christmas thing of Ippy I just made, and then go and do something like make the star in the middle move around like a Pixar character and glow, and run this. Kind of the reason why I'm showing this is because Luma Labs is an image to video API. So perhaps I might want to extend this product where I could put in an image and then I hit a video API because it violates IP guidelines. I think I said Pixar. That's why. Make the star in the middle move around and look happy. Hey, this is why we need story protocol. IP mention. And it's like kind of like last thing, but I'm showcasing this because Luma Labs and there's like these other image to video APIs that exist out there. And I might want to like generate a sketch and be like, oh, that looks really good. And then I want to bring it to life. And then maybe I might want to turn this product into something that stitches all of this together. And maybe I want to turn this product into something that autonomously stitches these remixes and generations together to make stories and everything. Point is, there's a lot you can do. Everything I mentioned is very possible with that process I showed you. And if I wanted to keep iterating and advancing this product, I would do so in that manner. So last step to kind of wrap this up is I'm in a pretty happy space with how this works. Now we have changes that work. I'm going to say, cool, now it works. Please remember, update your documentation. Every time you do an update, please update our docs. So by the time that is finished updating, and I have a new AI chat system, it has knowledge and context of what our previous code base is. There's like other practices I would tell you guys. Like, for example, this is pretty small code base, but I would get into the habit of, as a code base gets bigger, make sure you're not stuffing all the code into one file, you want to make sure to again, the concept of like break down a bigger task into smaller pieces. You want to break down a bigger code base into smaller pieces as well. So over time, I might actually, let me show you that because I think that's super important. I don't want to miss that. So let me say this. And again, before I break the code base, let's save it to GitHub and save our second checkpoint. Git commit m added parallel processing and made variations only reference the original image. So now git push. So now we have our working and happy content product in GitHub saved right here. And then now last thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to say, so first, this is a new AI system, right? It has no context of anything we just worked. I could type like almost 200 words per minute. I think my record's 174. Helps a lot with AI stuff, but this is documentation. So you can add the docs here. So again, this is a brand new AI system, knows absolutely nothing about our code base. And I'm giving you the docs. And now I'm going to give it specifically the public folder. Well, I don't want these results. I'm going to empty out this results folder and just paste it in. And then I'm going to paste in the src and no longer need the generation. So delete that file. And I'm just going to write out, please break down my code base into smaller files that separate each concern and functionality. I think I'm going to just say that. I'm going to make the agent do this. So what I'm doing is to prepare ahead of time before this code base gets bigger and before it gets more complicated to like fix these different problems. I'm going to break this code base down. Well, I'm going to have the AI system break this code base down for me into different files so we can have a nice separation of concerns going, so that, again, we need to make sure that the quality of context and information we give AI systems when we're working with them is very specific and very dense and very hyper-focused. So by separating the concerns of our code base into different folders and files, when things break or we want to do updates, we could focus the updates in these different parts of the code base. And this is one of the most important parts that just makes vibe coding very easy to work with, especially as you start scaling like actual products that get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. If everything's in one file, you're gonna screw yourself. But it's fine because our AI system can separate everything for us. And then when you get into this nice like separation of concerns, then I would update this. Now is around the time I would update the Docker to rules file and explain where everything go, and tell the AI system that if we're making new functions, make sure they go in the right folder, or make sure we have what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just make sure everything is in the proper sections when you're updating code. And it just makes it easier for you and future AI systems to do these updates without vibe coding security concerns or giving yourself tech debt. That are the common misconceptions that people talk about on Twitter when it comes to vibe coding. So kind of just letting him do his thing. There's one other thing I'm going to do is make a .env example. Delete this and save that. I'm just making a .env example. So if people want to, so I'm going to like give this code base to you guys. If you wanted to play with it yourself and like use more IPs or make stuff with it, all you have to do is put in your own Gemini API key and install this yourself. And then you could play with this exact code base or even build on top of it if you want to make your own thing. So kind of with that being said, he's just going through the system and working the whole thing and separating the concerns for us. And once that's done, I would test it, make sure it works, and then working on it from there on forth and making this a more advanced product becomes a lot easier and more efficient. Anyways, with that said, that's basically the workshop. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know, or if you like any questions at all. But I hope that was useful and made sense.
Yeah, that was awesome. Really great. I think we probably will have some questions at the end here. I know one is any one spot resource for vibe coders, or is it a good idea?
So kind of no, not right now. That's what I'm making this Discord for. So I have two. You guys are all more than welcome to join, but I have that Discord, so I'm gonna like link it one more time. I also have this Vibe Coders community on Twitter, and what I'll do is when I find like really useful posts, I'll share it in here, and I'll also share it in the Discord.
I think one of my main takeaways from this is like, if as you're going through all these processes, if you get stuck anywhere along the way or looking for a guide or like just kind of like okay, like what do I do next, you can just ask AI and it will tell you.
Literally.
And it's just all about like organizing like your product idea or whatever your end goal is, and then just taking the baby steps to get there. Even if it's just like figuring out how to set up your environment, this is all stuff that AI can teach you however you want to be taught to.
Yes. And just as you talk with AI more, you'll start understanding you'll start understanding different learning styles that help you. Usually for me, like I don't know if you would be able to pick it up initially, but like there were some steps in the instructions where I would ask it and then like I didn't like how it was explaining it to me, so I would like switch it up. So like feel free to like also explore different ways for the AI system. And if you don't understand something, like literally just keep telling the AI system you don't understand. You might be able to like another fun thing is asking it to like go back and forth with you with questions before you start the code base or help or question, and that kind of like helps get all the questions. I think the biggest thing is some people just don't know what questions to ask. So you could also have AI help you find the questions to ask to go through the process.
Let's see, answering some other questions here. Watching the recording. Yeah, this is recorded and it'll probably take like a day for Google to like send it to my G Drive, but we'll be uploading this on YouTube shortly. And then we could actually message, if you RSVP'd to this workshop, we can just send the link out in the message there. Anything else? There was a few different questions about recording. We got the link to your Discord. Awesome. This was a really great workshop. I think we'll probably do this again. Story is going to be hosting a lot more kind of like beginner friendly or like vibe coding or AI assisted coding workshops going forward. Maybe like once a month or something like that. And this was just kind of like a really good kickoff to get a feel for what they might be like going forward. I think we'll get into more specific stuff. I think like something we could probably do is like, you know, take the story documentation and kind of there will be like more specific workshops going forward. It's like, oh, how do we actually like, you know, fork the IP portal and like build like a custom front end for music, and we can vibe code it together. So yeah, I think this is great. Utoshi, thank you so much. Super honor to have you out, and we'll be doing this again in the near future.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm happy you guys had. Feel free to DM me or join the Discord. I'm always open for questions. And yeah, share a lot of tools in there. Thank you guys so much for having me and sponsoring this workshop. It was very fun, and it seems like people learned a lot. So I'm happy about that.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much. I'm going to take a screen grab of just this last thing right here. It's so funny. Okay, killer. Thank you all. I'm going to close this meeting out. See you all online.
Peace.